has constantly provided a safe space for citizens to engage in difficult but necessary conversation, while the diocese has remained a principled voice of justice, accountability, and the dignity of all people. To see such a scared institution transformed into a target is both alarming and unacceptable. When churches that shelter the vulnerable and amplify the voices of the people come under attack, it's not only a threat to the church, it is a direct assault on Kenya's democratic conscience. Viva Comrades, viva!
Viva! Viva Comrades, viva!
Viva!
Operationalize Victims Protections Act, operationalize!
Operationalize!
Operationalize Victims Protections Act, operationalize!
Operationalize!
Viva Comrades, viva!
Viva!
Abash intimidation, sabash!
Abash!
Asante sana, my name is Willie Otiende. I am a comrade at Manyata B Social Justice Center. I am a human rights activist. And so we stand in unwavering solidarity with the Anglican Church of Kenya, the Diocese of Kisumu, St. Stephen Cathedral, and all SEK churches in Kisumu, all saints in Nairobi and across the country that continue to stand on the side of justice despite growing intimidation. We refuse to accept a Kenya where sanctuaries become battlegrounds, where pulpits are silenced by fear, and where institutions that nurture civic courage are threatened as enemies of the state. An attack on the church's moral voice is an attack on every Kenyan's right to speak, assemble, and demand accountable leadership. We acknowledge the resilience demonstrated by communities, faith leaders, journalists, legal practitioners, medical personnel, and human rights defenders who have continued to provide legal aid, emergency assistance, medical care, documentation of abuses, and psychological support despite operating in an increasing hostile environment. Viva Comrades, viva!
Viva!
Down with intimidations, down!
Down!
As organizations committed to constitutionalism and democratic governance, we reaffirm that criticism of public institutions, peaceful protest, public participation, and civic engagements are not acts of criminality, but fundamental pillars of Kenyan's constitutional democracy. No Kenyan should face intimidation, violence, or persecution for peacefully expressing their views, demanding accountability, or defending rights of others. Viva Comrades, viva!
Viva!
More power to the people of Kenya, more power!
More power!
More power to our people, more power!
More power!
Viva human rights defenders, viva!
Viva!
Viva Comrades, viva!
Viva!
I'm Agnes Achieng Ocham, a human rights defender. We therefore call upon 1. The National Police Service to immediately case the unlawful use of force against peaceful protesters, uphold the principle of legality, necessity, proportionality, and accountability in policing public assemblies, and respect protected spaces such as places of worship, hospitals, schools, and media houses. 2. The Independent Policy Oversight Authority to conduct prompt, impartial, and transparent investigation into allegations of police brutality, unlawful killings, arbitrary arrests, enforced disappearances, and other human rights violations committed during recent demonstrations, particularly within Western Kenya. 3. The Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, the Commission on Administrative Justice, and the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions to ensure accountability for all perpetrators of human rights violations and to strengthen protection mechanisms for victims, witnesses, journalists, and human rights defenders. 4. County governments and all public institutions to uphold constitutional principles of public participation, transparency, and accountability while protecting citizens from intimidation and reprisal for engaging in civic affairs. 5. Faith-based organizations, professional associations, development partners, and the international community to continue supporting initiatives that safeguard civic space, protect human rights defenders, and strengthen democratic governance and the role of law. We reaffirm our unwavering commitment to defending civic space, protecting human rights defenders, promoting peaceful civic engagement, and supporting communities in their pursuit of justice, accountability, and respect for human dignity. We will continue to document violation, provide support to affected communities, and work collaboratively with all stakeholders committed to upholding the Constitution of Kenya. An attack on civic space is an attack on democracy itself. The protection of constitutional freedom is a shared responsibility that reassures the collective commitment of state institutions, civic society, faith communities, and all citizens. Issued jointly by civil society organizations and human rights defenders in Western Kenya. Abash intimidation, abash.
Abash.
Abash intimidation, abash.
Abash.
Viva comrades, viva.
Viva.
Viva comrade, viva.
Viva!
Well, those right there, human rights groups giving their voice on the shrinking space of civil society and rights within Kenya and what has been happening to part of their organizations. And now back to the conversation right where we left it. And Marcus, you were responding to the Kofi Annan report.
Yeah, so I was mentioning two things. One is the question around electoral violence in the country. And I was just recalling ourselves that every time there has been an incumbent that seeks to defend their seat, the stakes are quite significantly high. I was mentioning 2007 and what it led to in terms of electoral violence that followed. 2017, some good amount of violence, but not to the tune of what we saw in 2007. And this is what we expect in 2026. So it's very, just look across a number of jurisdictions. Any time an incumbent seeks to defend their seat, stakes are very high. That's the first point I was making. But in our recent political economy analysis that we've done with our partners, there seemed to be a shift. While in the past we had a post-election violence, what we'll be seeing in this election moving forward is, it could change, but all indications are that we shall have a pre-election violence. So more of violence taking place before the elections, so that it now keeps away a number of political contenders, inside, put fear out there, they won't show up or they will not present themselves. So question about pre-election violence likely to happen more than post-election violence. The second thing that we have also documented as we head to 2027, rather than talk about ethnic violence, say tribe A against tribe B, what our study indicates is that we're going to have intra-ethnic violence. So that you find, for instance, let's just use for the purpose of this debate, you'll find that within, say, this community, there are those who support one term, there are those who support two term. They'll be fighting amongst themselves. It's no longer about Kikuyus fighting Kalejins or Luos fighting Kisses. That is likely to change. The other big thing that we have seen is intra-elite violence. So that you find the elites within the community fighting among themselves because they have taken sides. So you find that this elite A fighting elite B, so that their positions are advanced. Lastly, the question about which I was saying earlier on, we must have a debate, Ruth and Bosco and David, we must have a debate about the question about election offenses generally, because even violence is an electoral offense. Do you want us to go back to where we were before 2016, where we gave the IBC not only administrative power, like to issue fines or warnings, but also the power to prosecute? Because as it is now, the only leverage that IBC has is administrative recourse. Through their electoral code of conduct committee, they impose a fine, you rush to court can mitigate it, they issue a warning, which are rarely had. So that now, but the questions about violence, bribery, intimidation, these are criminal in nature, and therefore they sit within ODPP. And we know that the prosecutions there take a long time if they ever happen. So we get into an election with people that are suspected to have committed offenses. They get elected, they take 5 years, and no one is brought to book. So I think maybe at some point, to be able to, we must ask ourselves, what should we do as a country? We expect IBC to call off an election. We expect IBC to secure a peaceful election, but IBC alone cannot do it if other agencies are also not doing their part, including us as citizens. That's the comment I wanted to make.
All right. And to the other issue that we have had here, just having a general observation of the by-elections and how they have been unfolding. There's been a reference to these by-elections in Ol Kalou painting a picture of how elections in 2027 may turn out to be. However, we've had a scenario where the president himself has not been, or even the deputy president has not been directly involved in the campaigning during the by-elections, at least not in Ol Kalou. On the other end, on the other leading opponent of the UDA candidate, we've also not had Rigathi Gachagua himself going to Ol Kalou. He's actually commented on the matter and said, you know, that issue is being conducted by the election is being conducted by my generals, the likes of Metho, so I do not need to have a hand in it. So if this is meant to have a say on how 2027 will look like, are we looking at, you know, these leaders creating room for plausible deniability should things backfire? Or are we also looking at a situation where they are going now to steal take the credit now if things go in their favor?
That's my question?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I agree with my brother and how he talked about all the other issues he has talked about the elections and all the issues involved. And as you have asked about the outcome of this by-election and what it means to these leaders, one, it will have an impact, obviously, on the 2027 election, because from now here, someone will say and claim, I own the mountain, okay? As I've always said. However, that person has already prepared Kenyans that, oh, don't bring police, come by yourself. Not, I mean, telling like the government side, I will defeat you even if you bring the police, okay? So in the event now he loses, he will say, you see, I had told you, they would leak. You say, I had told you, they would do this. So he has an easy exit route, or rather he has prepared people psychologically, be it his supporters or otherwise, that if he loses, he will say, they always talk about margins. They will say, I've lost, but look at the margin, okay? If on the flip side, the government or UDA wins, UDA will have a vote of confidence that the issue of Mount Kenya East and West, the mountain is intact, the president has enough votes in the mountain, and it's a replica of what will happen in 2027. So about the issues of peace, or what will happen after the election, as we move to 2027 elections, the report like the one which was given by Kofi Annan Foundation has both advantages and disadvantages. One, the advantages are it's a precautionary measure. Precaution is a warning to all the operators who are involved in the election that, look, we are at 84%, you need to do something to reduce this, otherwise there will be anarchy. On the flip side, it may bring, as I had said when I started, it may bring anxiety, fear, different kind of these things. But as it stands, if you have seen what is happening in Ol Kalou, if you can give this as a case study, whatever is happening in Ol Kalou, assuming things will end as they are, meaning there will be voting which is peaceful, the counting will be peaceful, the announcing, and even after the announcing to be peaceful, because my sister had alluded that most of these fights or violence happens after the elections are announced. So as you can see in Ol Kalou, in law there's something they call, what is it called? Res ipsa lequita. Res ipsa lequita, it means that the thing speaks for itself. As you can see now, the Ol Kalou by-election and the situation of violence or non-violence is already speaking for itself. So whatever the outcome, it will speak a lot about what will happen in 2027. So in the event now it also may turn violent, it also points to where our country is, meaning even if you have 1,000 police in one area, there will still be violence. So we are hopeful, obviously. Everyone hopes it will be peaceful. And what I would encourage as I conclude on that matter, as we move to even 2027, there will be people elected different, governor, senator, and all that. I think it's critical for the voters to think about leaders who are non-violent, leaders who have good brains who can change their livelihoods, and that should be the guiding principle. So, for example, for myself, as I vie as a member of parliament in Manyata, what is motivating me is to change the lives of these people, because there are so many genuine leaders. As I had said when we were on the break, when we're having a break, there's so many, there's a deficiency of good leadership in this country, or rather genuine leadership, because people get into power motivated by CDF, for example, because I can see some 200 million here is what I'm going to get. But for me, I look at how to change these lives. And I said, corruption for me, 1 million Kenya shillings or 10 million lost. I don't look at the money. I want to look at the lives lost because of the medicine that I did not get to the people. I'm looking at a road that was not well even done maram, and then a granny who was carried by a boda breaks her leg, and sometimes people who are even anemic, they end up dying. So I'm looking at what was lost at the end of the day. So let us focus on leadership as we move. We may be brought this and that, the monies and all these things that we always talk about, but what is important for us to change this country? Because I will tell you, as I conclude about development and our leaders, the problems of this country will not be solved by any messiah from up, from heaven. Our problem will be solved in this parliament. And as long as we are voting parliamentarians who are not responsible. Matiang'i sometimes told us about wash people getting into parliament. Maybe there will be more this time if we are not careful. So once you elect people who are not responsible, the laws that, for example, we expect to have of managing elections, people will be taken to toilet, given 10K each, and they lose people will lose lives because of that. Okay? So let us focus on what really matters for us as a people and not what we're getting. Ukipewa 100 shillings by a politician, ujue amekupea 20 bob for 5 years, each year 20 bob. Does that make sense? Yes.
All right, wale wa 330 can calculate.
Exactly. For 5 years.
330 meetings.
Yes.
Ruth, on the ownership and deniability of these results.
Yeah, I think one thing I've learned in this life, it's good to have an open mind. It can be a win-win. Because I can make reference to the book by Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. That there has to be a place you get in leadership and decide it's a win-win. Whatever, whether DCP or UDA takes the day, it's a win for the people of Ol Kalou. And that is something that, and we have to tolerate each other, even in diversity. You know, so thinking win-win. Number 2, from the same book, is having an end in mind. And I would ask maybe the political parties that were really participatory in this process. 2 things. And as an economist, how much have they spent? Number 1, I can ask that question. Number 2, what is the impact? How many people were reached in each ward? You know? What difference did that money cost or make in the region of Ol Kalou? And number 3, going forward, even as a new leader comes in, how is that leader going to be empowered enough to take that continuity, enthusiasm forward? I saw people on social media asking, where is Ol Kalou? People don't even know the situation where Ol Kalou is situated. Other parts of the country do not know. But the attention that has been given to it, can the leaders take advantage of that and put Nyandarua on the map? What is Nyandarua and Ol Kalou in particular going to be offering to Kenyans? And those are the critical questions and how are the people of Ol Kalou? We do not want, after all this process, then we see them crying, saying other things that were left and they have been abandoned. This is their moment. What are they taking home? What empowerment are they bringing on the table? What issues? I saw, there's a time I saw them, some of them had been invited for a round table in State House. What did they take on the table to State House? Because that means they were being given a listening ear, you know. So some of these things, there has to be a point we get as a people. And I believe, and I've always told you this, David, there's part of diplomacy when it comes to a people. Hardlining is good, but sometimes unnecessary. You know, where can we be able to put the diplomacy on the table? You are on the opposition and you want opposition to win. You're in government, you want government to win. But how can we have a win-win? So that the people and the impact of even the funds that have been poured in that region can be, and the people of that region will never complain again. It can be a blessing in disguise, even the fact that their member of parliament, may he rest in peace, rested. But can they take advantage of that blessing in disguise?
All right, Marcus, I'll let you give your last remark, even as we get to finish up.
Thank you very much. I think I want to reiterate Ruth's words that at the end of this context, David, it is the people that will win. Like I said earlier on, that elections should be seen as a celebration of human rights. Our Bill of Rights is very robust, and part of our fundamental right is the right to elect, to be elected, and to ensure that our vote counts. My last words, of course, in this regard is let the Ol Kalou people celebrate genuinely, and we make sure that their votes also count. At the end of the day, this political context come and go, the constituency will remain, the lives will remain. We as observers and other actors in the space, we want to encourage everybody to do their part and to ensure that credible elections is safeguarded. Thank you very much.
Well, indeed, that is it from us here, and I was privileged to be graced by this amazing panelists. We had Mark Agenga, the program coordinator from Election Observers Group. We also had Bosco Kiora, a governance expert, as well as Ruth Kinyanjui, a governance and economic expert, giving us insights of the Ol Kalou by-election as it unfolds. Thank you very much for making time. My name is David Kagina. The broadcast does not end now. You will continue getting updates of what is transpiring from Ol Kalou. Later on, you'll be joined by my colleague Mumbi Shege, who will also be joining us with a different set of panelists, even as we continue to follow the by-elections. But for now, allow me to leave you with sentiments made earlier by both the deputy leader, DCP, that is Cleophas Malala, as well as Samuel Mushinanyaga, who is the UDA aspirant in Ol Kalou constituency, and just get to hear what they said earlier. But for now, keep it K24 TV. Thank you for watching.
So far so good. We are certain that today is going to be a good day because it has started on a very good note, very peaceful, very calm, and the people of Ol Kalou have turned out in large numbers to come and exercise their democratic right. We want to ask the people who haven't come to vote, to cast their vote, to kindly consider coming this morning, because it is important for you to prioritize exercising your civic duty. Second, we have not seen any incident that can cause alarm, and therefore we just encourage our people, however long it takes to be on the line, kindly persevere, endure, because this is your day. And I just encourage you that when you cast your vote, you have a right to go outside the polling station and wait. This narrative that is being propagated around that you should cast your vote and go home, we cannot trust this government. We cannot trust the police officers. We are going to gather our votes, we are going to cast our votes and wait outside the polling station, so that when counting is done, everybody can be able to witness, our agents can be able to be protected against state intimidation.
Talking of the police, we've seen earlier various leaders claiming that this is intimidating to speak of the high number of policemen. And what did you say about that? And are there still plainclothes policemen who are still in the area? And what are you doing about that?
Initially, that was the motive. The motive was to intimidate our voters, to try and intimidate our voters, to insinuate a situation whereby there is a lot of tension in the area. But I thank the people of Ol Kalou who have snubbed that signal and turned out in large numbers. We believe that even if you brought the entire brigade of the police force here today, the will of the people of Ol Kalou will not be interfered with.
As far as you've observed, what would you say about the numbers? Have people come out in the numbers that you expected?
Yeah, very good turnout. As you can see, the queues are very long and it's quite encouraging. But we've put in mechanisms to ensure that even more people come in to vote. We're going all the way to hospitals to even talk to some of the in-charge doctors to allow patients who can come and vote and go back to the hospital. We've also provided mechanisms to ensure that people living with disabilities, some of them are trapped in their respective homes, they don't have transport. We've facilitated a way in which people can go and help them to also come and be part of this very noble.
I feel like as we have talked with the people of Ol Kalou, we have had 3 months to campaign. And I feel like we have done all our best, and people have really listened to us because we encourage everyone within our Kalou constituencies to come out today and to come out in large numbers so that they could direct their member of parliament who will serve them for the next 1 year. So I feel people are really, the turnout is really encouraging.
How does that security in this area?
Security, I feel today we have the security is well organized. Kwa sababu ukiangalia utaona maafisa wa polisi, they are everywhere. They are manning our roads and our police stations. So I feel the security is quite well today. Na sijapata incidents yote isipokuwa an incident that happened yesterday that one of my vehicle ambayo ilikuwa nasafirisha my agent ilikuwa pahali panaitwa Mugumo, ilienda ikachomwa na wahuni, but the situation ikakuwa controlled. Other than that incident that happened yesterday night where my vehicle was burned, sijapata incidents zingine, but of course today's morning I have had some 2 other incidences whereby I've had some individuals wenye wanapeana pesa huku kwa polling station, and I'm calling the IEBC to investigate the issue because I have heard from my people ya kwamba kuna watu walikuwa kwa police station kadhaa ambao wanajaribu kuhonga wapiga kura katika polling station zetu, but I believe IEBC will take the action against those individuals who are trying to bribe our people so that we can have free and fair elections today.
Wale wako nyumbani unaweza waambia aje kuja kuvote?
I encourage whoever is at home, please come out and come and exercise your voting right, kwa sababu kupiga kura ni haki ya kila mmoja wetu. Mimi ningewahimiza, ingawa ninaona ya kwamba wananchi wetu wamejitokeza vizuri, lakini pia tungetaka the turnout to be good. Maybe even if it's possible we have 100% voters turnout hapa kwetu constituency ya Ol Kalou, ili wananchi waweze kuamua ni nani wangetaka kuwe mjumbe wao wa mwaka mmoja ambao umebaki.
Have you reported that matter, the case that you said?
I have just come from home. Ndio nimetoka nyumbani, and as you know, I'm a law abiding citizen. I'll take the necessary action. Kama ni kuripoti nitaenda ni report so that action can be taken, kwa sababu sitaki kuiongea tu kwa mdomo. I want to take action. Even the last time that my banners were pulled down, I took the action and reported the matter to the police and the agencies that are concerned with the investigation, kwa sababu mimi ni mwananchi ambaye anapenda sana kufuata sheria, sio mambo tu ya kuongea.
Uko tayari kukubali matokeo?
I'm ready for the outcome because I know I'm winning. I'm ready for it.
What if you lose?
I'm ready. The people of Ol Kalou will talk at the ballot. Just wait in the evening. What the people decide is what we'll do.
Thank you so much for staying here with us on K24 and Kameme TV. And indeed, that was the UDA aspirant in Ol Kalou, Samuel Mushina, just giving an update on everything that has been taking place. We continue to update you on the process where voting is underway in Ol Kalou. Many thanks for joining us here on Kameme TV. and K24. My name is Mombi Chege. I will be taking you through, and of course we have our reporters on ground. We have Mbataru Mwangi, one of them, who's just updated us on everything that is currently going on. Voting underway, the situation on security, everything seemingly calm. And of course, we have analysts in studio to help us better delve into this whole issue. Of course, Ol Kalou, it is more of like a death or life situation between UDA, between DCP, Jubilee. It is quite something. All eyes on Ol Kalou in Nyandarua County and what is going to happen today. Who's going to take it? Is it going to be the UDA candidate? Is it going to be the DCP candidate? Is it going to be the Jubilee candidate? There are 9 people contesting for this very seat that was before held by David Keraho, who passed away. And of course, we are going to be following on everything, how the IEBC will be conducting the whole process, how the tallying will be taking place. Of course, very early, the process began at 6 a.m. We saw many people, many old people turning out to cast their vote to express their democratic right. Of course, here with me in studio, we have Jackson Goima, who is a political analyst. And of course, we have Sheikh Mohammed Khan, who is the National Coordinator Imams. And of course, we have Dr. Enoch Makanga, who is a security expert, who are going to be helping us delve deeper into the whole process and how they view things, what is currently going on. Let me begin with you, Dr. Enoch Makanga, who is a security expert. Good morning, how are you?
Morning.
Thank you for making time for us. Of course, one of the things that Kenyans have been observing is how the security situation has been. Things seemingly very calm. How would you explain the situation in terms of security?
Things seem to be getting out of hand. This issue of conism, how we're looking at it is that if you want leadership in Kenya, the only way you will be able to manage is having guns. That is the actual saying that is on the ground.
Right.
As much as the police can say that they are trying to see how they sort them out, the problem is this thing is like a snake we reared, and then now it's a big snake and we are not able to deal with it. And I've been able to participate in so many funerals, let me say in Western Kenya, and what I saw, I couldn't believe, because you'll find a governor coming in with so many guys already on the ground. He has given mamas money, so when he stands, he's making noise, the other candidate comes again. So the whole thing is very messy. So, and we come to what's happening in Ol Kalou. The issue is IBC, I think it needs to wake up. There are a lot of things that I think Kenyans are complaining on. The first thing is the issue of preparation. This is a 5-year event. So there's no excuse you can be able to tell Kenyans. You need just to prepare in terms of emergency preparedness, in terms of logistics, in terms of putting in place a system that works and people can be able to see that you are doing a fair and credible election. So currently, as we are speaking, you can see how people are being overtaken by events. And there are things that unless IBC puts in place, you've heard people talking about people going to intimidate voters, like what happened in Malava, what happened in Tikania. And these are some of the things that we are looking at, and we are saying the buck stops with IEBC. They are the ones who are supposed to strike the whip and tell guys, my friend, you have actually contributed, because all these candidates normally fill a form that is normally called an oath, where you say you will not have guns, you will not disrupt elections. There are things that you normally fill, and it is signed by a commissioner of oath. So basically, I can tell you, all politicians are breaking the election rules. But now, who is supposed to strike the whip? It's not the police. It is the IEBC who are supposed to find people, and then from there the police can be able to, because even if police arrest, who will be the complainant? Because the issue is you must have a complainant who is saying a law has been broken, then from there you're able to move on. So as things are standing now, there are a lot of things that need to be addressed by IBC in terms of preparation. And this election in Ol Kalou, number one, is a matter of life and death because of the following things. Number one, if at all the government wins, then that means Gachagua is finished politically, because Gachagua has been telling us is the spokesman for Mount Kenya region. So if this thing flops, then it means that he's talking, but on the ground,
Things are different.
Things are different. And the way he normally tells us, anasikiza nini? Anasikiza ground. That's number one. Number two, the opposition has also to prove that as much as Gachagua is the other side, they have to prove that we can be able to take over leadership, and it will give a very good pairing for 2020, 2027. So a lot of things are going to happen, and by the end of today, or let me say tomorrow, we should be able to know whether the government is winning or the opposition is winning. But I can tell you, if you go to Ol Kalou right now, things are happening on the ground that IBC must be able to put their foot down and be able to help us.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Sheikh Mohammed Khan, good morning. Thank you for being here.
Morning, thank you.
What have you seen so far on the ground?
Basically, the way my colleague has said, it's about life and death. But there's a certain factor that they are missing out. This is not between Gachagua and Ruto. Basically, this is between the Gen Zs and Ruto. If you have noted, the media has been ignoring us. We've been calling out, the saying that we are 75% of the vote and plus or minus. But why am I saying this? Because Ruto anajua kwamba akipoteza hii kiti. You know, UDA was born in Ol Kalou, if you don't know. So this is the burial ground for Ol Kalou, I mean for UDA. So basically for Ruto, this is now the picture that he's getting for 2027, that how firm is he on the ground. Because if he loses, anajua Gen Z tutamnyonga. And if he wins, that is telling us that in 2027, sisi vijana, if Ruto comes back, tutachinjwa.
But speaking of the turnout, have you seen a lot of young people coming out? I mean,
you see, that's where the need, that the turnout is young people, yes. There's women also. But basically, these old politicians sort of think that they're the ones who own us. If you have been watching very closely, during the recent initiative we had inaitwa Tukokadi. Tukokadi tulikuja tu vijana ambaye hatuna resources, but we managed to register new voters 1.3 million plus or minus. Alafu right now I'm being given the latest information, it has gone all the way to 2.6 million newly registered voters. Who owns these votes? You see, on one side, the state has got security apparatus at its hand, it has got the resources at its hand, but we the Gen Zs also have a vote bank that we are going to use, because we have seen Kalonzo Musyoka, Matiang'i, Gachagua, kila mtu anajidai kwamba yeye ni kingpin, and they claim that because that tribe belongs to them, although most of these tribe people have never voted for them or have never appointed them as their kingpins. But we the Gen Zs are very soon going to appoint someone to cater for that vote that we have registered for ourselves. Hizo vote hatukuandikishia Gachagua ama Kalonzo ama hata rafiki yetu Sifuna. Hizo votes ni zetu. So very soon you'll be hearing from us who is our kingpin when it comes to the Gen Zs. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Ngoima, thank you for being here with us. How do you compare the turnout today and the turnout in the Mbeere North elections?
Thank you very much for having me on the show. And good morning to our viewers. The turnout in Ol Kalou looks a little bit more than it was in Mbeere, and largely the vibe around this election. The Mbeere election happened alongside other elections. This one is like the sole election happening today, and therefore the entire concentration is in one constituency. That said, this is not a turnout that is organically or the people of Ol Kalou motivated to come out and vote. Largely it has to do with the electoral malpractices of voter bribery, voter mobilization, and of course there could also be some people there. You know, for the first time in this country, we have a highly inefficient, ineffective, highly compromised IEBC. An IEBC that hears no evil, sees no evil. An IEBC that thinks punishing one person and punishing the other on this other side will show some teeth. Remember what they did with the MP for Kipipiri, fining her because of her utterances, and what they did with Gekaria, fining him. They realized that if we just leave that penalty stay on the Kipipiri MP and we don't do something on the side of UDA, we will be known. Everyone will know that we are compromised. So they had to look for something. Gekaria has not taken more money to Ol Kalou than Moses Kuria. He has not taken. You see, this is We're dealing with a government that has repurposed IEBC to serve itself. We're talking about a government that has repurposed the police force and the security sector to serve itself. And therefore, what we are having in Ol Kalou is just government behaving badly. I'll tell you something. The Ol Kalou by-election should not be looked at like a competition between Gachagua and William Ruto. It should be looked like at like a government playbook on how to approach 2027 general election. It's simply a playbook. They want to know what would be our rigging strategy. How can we effectively use violence? And that's why you hear the issue of Gunism coming in. How can we use state-managed violence with a compromised security system to manage an election, and with money to control the minds and the voting process so that then we win an election? They are also testing, can Mount Kenya be swayed by money? Can Mount Kenya be swayed by development goodies? We have seen the World Environment Day being taken to Ol Kalou. We have seen they almost took SGR to Ol Kalou. I mean, there's all elements.
Is this a pattern? Can you tell that there is a pattern looking at the previous
It's not even a pattern. It is a deliberate action, a deliberate, well-coordinated action by government. A situation whereby the government has sat down, created a WhatsApp group, listed all ministries. So what is the Ministry of Internal Security, Interior, doing in Ol Kalou? What is the Ministry of Environment doing in Ol Kalou? What is the program of the Ministry of Education in Ol Kalou? What is the Ministry of Energy doing in Ol Kalou? I mean, it's a choreographed thing. And when people talk about the development, we also know, we have all seen the finance bill. We also the budget of the 2025, 2026. It had nothing Ol Kalou. And therefore, when you tell us it is continuous development as government should do, there is a development can happen anytime, so it doesn't matter whether it's a by-election. I mean, it's taking Kenyans for a fool. It is clearly an election blueprint for 2027 with all ingredients of an extremely violent election in 2027.
Right. Dr. Makanga, do you think the IEBC realizes how much and what is at stake with this by-election?
Do they care?
Do you think they care? Do you think they care about the goodwill, how they look to the Kenyans?
The problem I've had with the Kenyans is people have not learned from this Mzee Kivuitu. People have not learned from Chebukati. Yeah, I mean, you will be given money, yes, but now, what is the joy of me taking money when my children will suffer? What is the joy of taking money and I mean, we shall all die. I mean, the issue is we are talking about good governance. So we expect IEBC to be on top of the game and making sure that what they are doing does not raise any integrity issues. But now what is happening is that people fill forms, people feel the things I've talked about, but at the end of the day, if you see, if I was the chairman of IEBC, I'm very sure I could have dealt with so many guys in Ol Kalou, because why should a civil servant be in Ol Kalou doing what? Doing what? And it's very clear that civil servants are not supposed to be involved in what? In politics. So these are things that we look at it as security players, and we see a very serious problem that has been created by these guys. And the problem is they are not seeing the bigger picture, because you remember Kivuitu telling people openly in the eyes that I don't know who is the winner. I mean, a whole chairman telling the whole country don't know who is the winner, and that's where we end up landing up in problems 2007. So my response is that at the end of the day, this gentleman who is the chairman of the IEBC, my friend, he must be able to wake up, because we are just talking about a 5-year event. This is something that you need to just have a strategy. You sit down, you say, I need people, I need procedures, I need finance. Once you're given the money by the treasury, you fire. But at the end of the day, you must be able to be a referee who should be able to give a red card where it is necessary. Not, as my colleague has said, you are giving a red card this side, and this case, this side you are closing your eyes. If you have to go that way, and I can tell you, Gen Zs have woken up. My friend, we've been saying wajinga waliisha, and I can tell you Kenyans are not stupid. This time around, you play monkey games, I think these guys will tell you no.
Right. Sheikh, we seem to have a pattern whereby since the days of 2007, where the electoral authority has never really been independent. So when are we going to get there? When is it ever going to come to an end where Kenyans can truly trust the electoral authority that's, you know, in charge?
You see, basically, if you look at the Kofi Annan report recently,
right,
the chances of this country going to violence, 81.6%, that is not a joke. And who are going to be used? The youth. Already we are seeing, because you call them goons, but I don't call them goons, I call it poverty. You see these young guys, because we've been going with the Linda Mwananchi rally, and we are the ones who have been attacked most. Okay, we have lost one of our colleagues, we nearly lost the driver of Kangata, so we know. Myself have been attacked personally. So this violence, where is NCIC? What is NCIC doing?
Right.
This NCIC has been a defunct body. We are just wasting taxpayers' money. So it's not, we should not just blame IEBC. And these laws are there. It's only the implementation. And I think the main problem here is this current regime. Okay? This current regime is working with the old constitution, whereby the president has got extreme powers. What you are seeing Ruto is doing, he is just becoming another Moi. If you see, he's not following the 2010 constitution. He's following the previous one, whereby he is the law. But right now he's waking up to a new reality, that the Gen Zs understand the law inside out. Hata mwananchi wa kawaida leo anaelewa kila sheria. And this is one of the main things that is going to cause a lot of chaos. So we are not going to just blame IEBC, but we are going to say, can we have an IEBC that is competent? Can we have someone who can put his foot down? Okay, I remember our former speaker, Ol Kalou. If this guy had the energy and he would have been the IBC chairman, ungeona maneno. Okay, we saw Martha Koome during the 2022. She was a bit very lenient. Okay, but if we had someone like Willy Mutunga, you'll have seen a decisive step. So you can imagine if Ruto has just won with 200 votes. Imagine now if he goes with a landslide. What will he do to this country? Because he's not following the 20, you know, he was against the 2010 constitution.
Right.
So currently, if you see the way he's moving around, he's moving with the old constitution, whereby he's getting extreme powers, he's using the police as his private army. And I also have, we have talked with this police on the ground. I just see tunapale tuko chini, tukuuliza mapolisi. Leo bahati mbaya nchi kiharibika, au wakubwa wote watahepa. Wewe utaenda na nani? Utabaki na sisi hapa. Alafu utadu. So these are the things these youngsters should start understanding. Because there was a time, the IG was being reported to the court every time. I came out with a TikTok video and I said, it's not the IG, go for the OCS. This crime has happened in the area, go for the OCS. And I think the government listened. And we saw Talam being picked up. We saw the other day OCS Central Pier near Alichukule Osiku, and things have started moving. So instead of going for the big guns, start with the small guns. You know, with this country, we've got this top to bottom. It should be from bottom to top. So when IBC, we go for that county in Ol Kalou, and we see the returning officer, he starts becoming accountable. Then the IBC chairman, no matter who it is, he will abide.
Right. Ngoima, do you think we're ever going to get to a point where we have an independent electoral authority body?
I don't know why we can't, and I believe we should, because this country has competent and men of integrity in all spheres. We have people working in other sectors and they do their job with integrity. It's only that the selection process is shrouded in mystery, and the process, the manner in which the process of getting an IBC chairman is conducted is one that will lead us to where it leads us.
Right.
Okay?
The process.
If you look at, for example, the current commission that we have, it's a commission of William Ruto and Raila Odinga. The rest of Kenya was not involved. And you can see this gentleman who is the chairman of IEBC. He was the legal officer at Turkana County. And we know that the former governor, who was his boss, is currently working in State House. I mean, there's a direct correlation between the process and the selection. And Kenyans know these things, but what to do? That's a question. Earlier you talked about, and I like when Sheikh speaks about the Gen Z. You know, our by-elections are conducted in a manner that during a by-election, we don't have a public holiday. The Gen Zs are largely students. They are at times young employees, people who are recently employed. They are the main actors in small businesses. And therefore, you may not judge their turnout and their participation purely on the by-election. Because, for example, if you are, for example, you may be a Gen Z, you are here reporting. Another one is a police officer, is there working. The other one is a banker, he's in the bank, in the hall, counting money and doing other stuff.
Right.
But a general election happens on a public holiday. So they are not going anywhere. They will appear and they will vote. That is the difference between a by-election and a general election. And therefore the government is normally very excited while participating in by-elections, because then they're able to do a lot of mobilization. This by-election, IEBC will be culpable. I happen to have appeared before Kiligra immediately after the elections of 2007, because one of the areas that were considered volatile was the Juja constituency, then now currently Thika. And Kriegler's told us, if you do not have an electoral body that is believable and trusted by the people, the electoral outcome will be certainly one that will not be accepted by the people. So the dangers of a compromised IEBC is that even if they conducted the election well, even if they did it, there is no one to trust that they actually did it right. And therefore perception is everything. The perception that Kenyans have about this IEBC, we were there, we watched, we saw Mbere North, we saw what happened in Mbere, we saw what happened in the Murua Decree, we saw, and I'm just not talking about ward elections, I'm talking about main elections. We saw Malava, that they were even arresting a candidate on the election day. And so much violence, so much chaos. And remember, on election day, the IEBC chair cannot blame the Inspector General, because what they do is that the police officers who are seconded to polling station are answerable to IEBC. They are literally decommissioned to serve IEBC. And therefore IEBC cannot then come and tell us the police officers were not listening. So we have a situation whereby now the government, the IEBC, the government, UDA as a political party, and the security sector are working as a team.
All right, Ngoima, I'll have to cut you short there. We're going to be taking a very short break. And of course, we are keeping a very close eye in Ol Kalou constituency, where voting is underway. We will keep you informed on everything that is happening there. Let's take a short break. We'll be back in just a moment.
TV.
Why wait for fun? K24.digital brings you 24/7 entertainment. From the pitch to the playlist, from celebrity gossip to the memes you love. We're not just news, we're your non-stop ticket to everything cool and trending. So get in the know. K24.digital. Follow the buzz 247.
Mtumaini Bwana kwa moyo wako wote, wala usitegemee ufahamu wako mwenyewe. Katika njia zako zote mtambue, naye atazielekeza njia zako. Mithali sura ya 3 mstari wa 5 hadi wa 6.
Ili kuset Mtumaini Bwana kama skiza tune yako, dial *811 *618#.
This July, get ready for stories that will make your heart race. From love and passion to secrets and lies that can ruin everything. Catch the sizzling episodes of Sins and Roses at 4 p.m, Domenica Monteiro at 5 p.m, Be My Sunshine at 6 p.m, and Avenida Brazil at 7 p.m, Central African Time. Only on Novelas Plus.
Hey, Mondo. Woza. Mr. Mavela, Mr. Mandunya, Mr. Mavujeng. Hii ni mbaya mtu wangu.
Ni mbaya. Golden Pineapple aka Mama Sita Miss Kanyoni.
Monday ginya Friday.
Kuma zai komisia hoaine ginya zinashara.
Ni mweje.
It is Reremboka Oklo.
Dokire kana irongerwo ndenda hiki no nginya ndirute guomboko.
Na ruo rweboka negererio tiongenenie DJ Jan 254 Mr. Moto kama pass.
Na naguo muthenya wa mwambĩrĩrio tugakurehera aka African music Afro Monday.
Why you do me like Joanna?
Naguo wa kerĩ tukaingira thĩinĩ wa kĩgoco. Oh yes, ngoro yakwa nĩrakena. #kanitha wa Reremboka.
Naguo muthenya wa Wednesday ni Wagwan Wednesday #Manyeki Wednesday. Peng peng.
Contradiction global, madness taking over.
Naguo muthenya wa Thursday ni ute wa Throwback Thursday #Chihau Gavere. Naguo muthenya wa Friday tugakua kindu giothe.
#Cocktail
Friday. Weka ngoma.
Hihi wina kĩũria kana woni wĩgiĩ umemerekia wa Kameme TV, twandĩkĩre woni waku kũhĩtũkĩra Facebook @Kameme TV Kenya, X @Kameme TV Kenya, na twandĩkĩre email kũhĩtũkĩra info@mediamax.co.ke. Kameme TV, mũthĩgi wa rũrĩrĩ.
Ladies and gentlemen, karibu kwa vibe genje za Kenya. Hizi ni zetu.
Beba kwa zile shaglasi uchapa ndio fobi jipe na watu wamoke
Pia usisahau
kuna ile uwaga ni zufala umbwakni yenye inabamba raia. Toka TikTok ama uende jehanamu. Niende jehanamu, samaki ya matope.
Hapa ndio home za madoa ambazo zina donjo, yani sherehe ni sheria na sherehe ni lazima.
Naambiaje?
Ndio ile place wa Kenya hutambulika ni wa Kenya.
Tunasemaje?
Karibu milele
100% Kenya.
Zetu baba.
Boda iko loud 100% Kenyan. Tunawakilisha milele.
Many thanks for staying here with us on Kameme TV and K24. Of course, we are keeping a very close eye in Ol Kalou constituency, where voting is taking place to decide who will be their next member of parliament before the 2027 general elections. And of course, our very own Bataru Mwangi is on ground to ensure he gives us all the details, all the happening, how the process is going on, how IEBC is conducting this whole process. Bataru Mwangi, if you can hear me, tell us, what are you seeing? How is everything going on? Are people still turning out? Is it peaceful?
Thank you very much, Mombi Shege. And as you just said, you're right at the heart of Nyandarua County, this is Ol Kalou constituency, where we are here for the by-election that is being conducted by the Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission, IEBC. This is out of the fact that this seat fell vacant after the death of the former Member of Parliament, David Kiaraho. And I'm joined by some of the stakeholders who are here as observers. And I want to introduce some of them. One of them to just come close here and tell us what's the situation at this moment. We are at Mombi Primary School, and what is the situation from your end?
Yes, good afternoon to everybody who is watching us. My name is Jacqueline Waihenya, and we are from the Law Society of Kenya. We have a team of observers who are in various wards and polling stations. Personally, I'm here with colleagues also from the Law Society, and we are at Mombi Primary School, Kaimbaga in Ol Kalou. That's Kaimbaga ward in Ol Kalou, the constituency. And we've been here since early in the morning. And first of all, the stations opened here in this polling station on time. And we observed as we were coming in, people walking, coming in, they were peaceful. We also saw some children going to school. When it was time to start, everything started on time. We were able to observe the voting material and just confirm that everything was in order. And when we started, at least in this polling station, the elderly, those who had young children, were given an opportunity to start, which is good electoral practice. And everybody who has come here has been given a fair opportunity to be identified with the KIMS kit. And then once they have been identified with their IDs and also in the KIMS kit, they have also been able to cast. They were given the ballots, they have voted, and they have cast their ballots. And we have generally observed very peaceful proceedings here. We are hoping that this is going to continue in the same way. We commend the people of Ol Kalou constituency for the way they have been able to organize themselves, to follow the law, also to see that both genders have been represented, both with the IBC teams and also with those voters who have come. So it has been a fairly calm morning here in Mumbi Primary School, and we are hoping that this is what is going to continue. Yes,
thank you very much, Madam Ihenya. Maybe there is someone else who can say something. You just mentioned about your observation as a short-term observer.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Jared Gekombe. I'm also part of the Law Society observation team. What we have observed here is that there has been huge turnout, which is impressive for a by-election. And also all the voters who have turned up, most of them have voted. Very few instances where someone has been turned away, which is very impressive. So we commend the IBC for adopting the digital system, which is helping to clear the queue. As you can see now, more than 50% have voted here. There is no queue, at noon, which is good. So we commend IBC, and we hope that the final outcome or the counting part will be free and fair and will be transparent, so that the outcome then reflects the will of the people of Ol Kalou constituency. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gekombe and Madam Ihenya from the observation team, from the observers team from the Law Society of Kenya. Now, when we came here, we found some members of the community who were also part of this. And the good thing is that we've seen them assist the elderly in a very big way. This is an area that has a good number of people who are elderly, and they've been assisted to a large extent to access the voter registration centers. And ningetaka tuanze kwa majina yako na useme vile ambavyo unaona process ya election imeendelezwa katika mahali hapa.
Thank you very much. My name's Stephen Moshendo Moreithi. I'm a original voter of Mombi polling station in Kaibaga ward, and I'm very glad this morning due to the conduction and the connection we have with every team, and we are very glad. Sasa tumefurahi sana kwa kuwa tumekuwa na uchaguzi mzuri sana hapa. To the time tuko nayo hapa na tuna proceed kuendelea. Tumefurahi sana, watu tumekoparate vizuri na IBC, tumekoparate vizuri na shule na management yoyote. Sasa tuko na shukrani sana, na ikiendelea hivyo watu wataridhika na matumaini yao itafika pale kwa kura. Sasa tunaomba ikiendelea tu hivyo tufike pale maneno ya kuhesabu kura, itakuwa tu mzuri. Asanteni sana na karibu.
Labda tunaona kwamba hakuna watu saa hizi. Unaweza eleza kwamba kulikuwa na watu masaa ambayo wamepita vile?
Mimi kura yangu kama ingeangaliwa mahali niliweka saa 12, 6 in the morning, 6:05. Na kulikuwa na turnout kubwa sana juu kulikuwa na at least kulikuwa na nini kidogo hivi ya kusema watu hawatatupa kura. Sasa watu walilauka mapema wakatupa kura, kuna wakaenda wapi? Na wakaenda nyumbani. Wakongwe walikuja mapema na wakarudishwa nyumbani. So kila kitu hapa iko sawa. Tunaomba sasa ikuwe maneno yote itakuwa sawa. Asante sana.
Asante sana. Na Mumbi, ningetaka tu kueleza kwamba nilipofika mahali hapa tukiwa na mpiga picha wangu Francis Mwangi, we found one of the ladies who I can estimate is above 90 years was brought to this place to exercise her constitutional right of voting. Na yule ambaye alimleta hapa ni mtu ambaye tuko naye hapa. Utueleze majina yako na mama kona miaka kama ngapi na kwa nini akasema lazima afike mahali hapa?
Asante sana. Majina yangu naitwa Martin Karuri Kingori, na mimi ndio nimleta shoshi yangu, na kwa umri ako na miaka 99. he almost towards 100, na ye mwenyewe ndio alifanya nini, akafanya juhudi, akasema lazima nimlete hapa, na akawa na wachungu sana, na ikawa ni kama ingekuwa laana kama singemleta, kwa sababu ye mwenyewe aliniambia sasa mahali ametoana na hii nchi hangetaka kuona tena nchi ikiweza kutubukia kwa shinda, na ndiposa akaniambia sasa kama hii sasa kura yenye atapiga ndio sasa itafanya nchi isimame, akasema lazima nimlete hapa, na ndio nikafanya juhudi, nikafanya juhudi, nikahakikisha nimemfikisha hapa.
Okay. Yeah. Na labda hii ikiwa by election ama uchaguzi ndogo, umeona watu wamejitolea kwa njia ambayo inafaa. Kulingana nawe, idadi ya watu ambao wametokea imekuwa idadi ambayo inafurahisha kulingana nawe?
Mimi nimekuwa mpiga kula hapa kwa muda mrefu hivi, lakini sasa tana nimetokea hapa kwa kituo changu cha Mombi, imekuwa ya kusisikisha sana, kwa sababu sasa watu wamejitokeza kwa wingi sana, mpaka nikashangaa kwa nini hata general election huwa wajitokeze hivyo. Nikaona sasa tangu asubuhi wamejitokeza wengi sana, na ndioona hata wale vikongwe wao wenyewe wamefanya ni kando na vile nimeleta maishoshi. Umeona wengi sana mpaka wengine walikuwa wanaletwa na wheelchair, wakasema lazima wafanye nini, kwa sababu wamesema sasa hawangetaka nchi yao irudi mahali walitoa, ati mahali walitoa kwa shida kwa mkoroni. Hawangetaka nchi yao itubukizwe ama irudi kwa ile shida ilikuwa nayo. Kwa hivyo sasa wametia juhudi, wakasema sasa ikiwa ni kupiga kura sasa ndio itafanya, ikiwa ni sehemu lao la bunge ama nchi nzima isimame, wakasema lazima sasa watachangia kwa lilo zoezi.
Okay. Asante sana. Na Mombi, labda kama unaweza niruhusu nipe dakika moja hapa utueleze kama wewe ni mpiga kura, na kama umepiga kura na the process imekuwa namna gani?
Kwa majina naitwa Inject Mukuha. Nilikuwa nimekuja kuleta shosho yangu hapa, ni mkongwe pia. Na naomba Mkenya ambaye yote anavota hapa Mombi na hajakuja kupiga kura, tafadhali kuja upige kura, kwa sababu sauti yako iko katika hiyo kura. Kama tunataka mabadiliko katika huko Ol Kalou, tutabadilika kwa sababu ya kupiga kura. Na waomba na nawasihi, kama uko nyumbani na hujapiga kura na utaona hii video, tokea upige kura. Kwa sasa najua ni watu nusu wamepiga kura. Tuko na zaidi ya watu 400 wako nyumbani na wanafaa kupiga kura hapa Mombi, Mombi School. Kujeni tafadhali, kama uko nyumbani kuja. Na pia huku nimefurahia sana kwa sababu naona watu wako na matumaini ya kubadilisha hii serikali. Na nikitoka pale nje nikasikia ameniambia ni one term, na mtu ni Sami Douglas Kamau. Asante.
Labda Mombi, those are the comments or the sentiments of the people in this area. Probably we'll speak about it later. Now, if you can check out the numbers in this particular constituency, is that you've got about 73,480 registered voters according to the IBC current register. These are an increase from around 72,800 from the year 2022. And we've got different wards. We've got Karao ward with around 13,795 registered voters. Kanjwere range with 15,585 registered voters. We also have Mirangine ward with 14,671 registered voters. Kaimbaga ward with 13,766 registered voters. We also have Rurie ward with 15,663 registered voters. And these are some of the numbers that we are having right now. And if you can look behind me, it seems as if the lines are no longer there, the queues are no longer there. In the morning, it was a different situation, because people came to the polling station as early as 6 or even before 6 a.m. in the morning. When we are at AC Primary School, we witnessed a rather different picture where we saw registered voters arriving there in large numbers. And in some of those areas near Ol Kalou town, we can see the numbers are still continuing to increase. And we expect that by the time IBC closes the whole exercise, everybody will have gotten a chance to exercise their constitutional right. Back to you in studio, Mombi.
Thank you so much, Mbataru, for that informative report there. Speaking to several people there who are voting, and of course speaking to observers from various places, like you've spoken to members from LSK Society, and of course we continue to observe everything. Dr. Makanga, if you observed, most polling stations seem to be closed, or not really closed, but people are not flowing in. But we saw people come in as early as 6 a.m. I don't know what you make of that. Is it that people did not turn out as much, or that people came out early enough to exercise that right?
I think from what I can see, like a lot of people have tried. I was in Malava, and what I saw was very disheartening. I can tell you, with more than 80,000 voters, and me, the ones who turned were almost 50%. So I think like a lot of people have tried. Let's see. But now the actual problem here is the issue of we are trying to assess the integrity of IEBC. Yeah, are they able to deal with the issue of primary issues during the voting day? Are they able to deal with the issue of violence on the voting day? And basically, are they able to do this thing in a fair and credible manner? The answer is as good as a no, because you've seen what is happening, and the electoral rules are very clear. The question is who will enforce the electoral laws so that people in Kenya are having good manners when we come for an election. You see, what actually annoys Kenyans is the issue of they put a lot of qualifications, people pay money, then you find somebody who has been a thief is the one who is being elected. Somebody who is involved in drugs is the one who is being elected. Somebody who people know in the public domain that this guy is a wrong guy, but you will find this guy is the one who is elected. Why? The issue of money being given on the voting day. I actually participated in 2022 elections, and I was running for my MCA seat at home. I won in 17 polling stations, and this guy won me in 3 polling stations only. 3 polling stations. I won in 17. This guy won me in 3 polling stations. And the issue is, what the guy simply did was that he took 20,000, gave to the officer of IBC, and then he went further and made sure that all the 5 clerks, everybody was getting 555. He gave the police officer 5,000. He gave all the agents who were supposed to monitor for the other candidates 5,000 and told them to leave. And then he brought in a gang of around 30 guys to be able to be given 10 ballot papers, to be given 40 ballot papers. So within 30 minutes, we were having like around 500 ballot papers done in one polling station. Another one 500. And you know, for MCA, once somebody gives you a difference of 500, that is gone. Now, the question was, why did I not go to court? I mean, how do you go to court when your agents are the ones who have been compromised? Because the court will ask you, you had agents, where were they? So these are the issues that I'm saying. Unless IBC tries to address bribery on the voting day, like what is happening right now in Ol Kalou, where people are complaining that people are trying to dish out money on the voting day. And the issue here is, even if you take policemen, I mean, Ol Kalou is a good one where they say they can be able to give they said 1,000 police officers. And then when it comes to the actual elections, now that's why we got drama, because now you find one police officer in one polling station, and then people are giving money on the road one side, and the other ones are giving. So even if he follows this side, these guys, they change here, they are here, they change here, they are there. And I can tell you, you leave your house, somebody is just waiting for you. One door to the polling station, he gives you 500. And you know, for mamas from Ushago, what they are told, the machine is seeing you. So when you go there and you press, you put your finger there, and you eat money from the government, or you eat money, I'm telling you, the machine will see you. So, you know, very funny allegations. And you find when a mama goes there, he just says, no, me, I'm voting for the government. Me, I'm voting for because he has been told that the machine is seeing her when she puts her finger on there. So a lot of voter education is required. A lot of training is required, people to understand how to be able to bring in, but we should not go the way Tanzanian went, and you know, you bungle an election and you call yourself, you are the president, you are a Form 4, you don't even meet the requirement for being a president, and then from there you take your opposition leader, you put him inside, and then you want to say you are the winner. I mean, these are some of the things that we are looking in Africa, and we are saying, wait a minute, are we safe? The answer is we are not, and we don't want to take a problem to reoccur again. Right. IBC should be able to actually bring out this election in a very fair manner, even if president wins, well and good. If the opposition wins, well and good. But as we are on the fence, we want to see transparency, we want to see election rules being followed, we want to see everything being done in a way that not where we are calling people from low side of Kenya or the other people are monitoring the elections, and when they come there, they are trying to cheat Kenyans. On the ground, everything is okay.
Exactly.
On the ground, people, there's nothing like being okay. I'm telling you, if you go on Ol Kalou, you will find the money being dished out today.
All right. Sheikh, speaking of requirements and whatnot, I know our politics deals so much with and dwells on party politics, UDA, DCP, Jubilee and whatnot. Looking at the candidates, do you think there's any right candidates if you were voting in Ol Kalou?
Thank you so much. You see, from what I'm seeing here in Ol Kalou, it's just the politicians muscling each other out. It's not about the candidates or about the wananchi. I've got my very good friend, Babu Wino. So far, there are people who are asking, which party will Babu go for? First and foremost, Babu is a brand. So I've asked Babu myself, and he told me, Sheikh, this party politics usually is just personal vehicles for some individuals. Today, Baba has gone, ODM is down. Tomorrow, Ruto goes, UDA goes. Okay, Jubilee, Uhuru is trying to revive it. So he was trying to tell me that if I am voted for Nairobi, what has ODM got to do with Nairobi? Because I'm supposed to come and present the problems of Nairobi on the floor. So the people of Nairobi have, or let's say, like I am going for MCA Parklands. Okay, I'm vying in the next election. So the people of Parklands put me in as the MCA. I'm supposed to bring their grievances on the floor. What has that got to do with Jubilee or ODM or something else? So this party politics, basically we are trying to see, is it possible for, we the youth are trying to think, is it possible for us to remove parties from this equation? Like in Nairobi, we are thinking about a coalition called Timbabu. So under the coalition, I might go independent, you might go as UDA, you might go as Jubilee, it doesn't matter. But under the coalition, first and foremost, because I've come under a coalition, the governor, who inshallah most likely will be Babu, cannot force me to follow what he wants because I've come.
So what would be the difference between that coalition and
now the coalition now is because basically now what you are saying is now we have to protect the governor also. Okay, so this basically the coalition is for an individual. The same thing. This sort of party politics is sort of to just protect the individuals. Others, when you go to parliament or when you go to the county assemblies, you ask ourselves, are we the representatives of the people or are we representatives of the parties? So that is what we ask ourselves. The party politics, we are trying to see how we can reform it and get rid of it. It will not happen overnight. Remember, we have been fed this thing for long, and there's always this initiative of the two-horse race. The two-horse race, right now we are coming in as the Gen Z as the third force. Why are we doing that? Why are we not going with the opposition or Ruto? It's because what happens after elections, you will not know, but behind the scenes I've been the secretary Azimio Klaji. So what happens now, resources were used. So they come and do the handshake and then they start getting the tenders and new wananchi mnasaulika. So what we are trying to see is we have to have a third force so that if these two guys try to go this way of handshake, there's a third force that will become the opposition. So that is what we are trying to need, that we have to protect the wananchi and not the interests of these politicians who have sort of made this politics return on investment.
Right. Ngoima, do you think we can ever get to that point where we can remove party politics when it comes to voting, you know, really voting for this person because you believe in their ideologies? And do you think that parties can ever get to that point where we're a party because of our ideologies, issue-based politics? And also looking at Ol Kalou, do you think there is any right candidate?
Thank you. I don't know whether I will fall within the electoral system where they'll accuse me of campaigning. But of course, if you ask me whether there's good candidate, I watched them on the, I don't know which station, I think one of your sister stations brought their debate. I quickly picked up the Jubilee candidate, Engineer Kegwa. He looks sober. He talks about what he has already done. He talks about going to the villages and as a philanthropic action has put electricity and has given people water long before he was running. And therefore I looked at him, and again, well-schooled and well-spoken, but very calm demeanor that perhaps deviates from the bad manners we've seen in Ol Kalou. So if I was to be voting there, I would certainly vote for him. And sometimes it's not just about voting for someone so that he wins, it's voting for someone because you believe in his leadership. About political parties in this country, I'll tell you one thing, and people think that President Uhuru Kenyatta is holding on to a political party. In 1861, Abraham Lincoln was elected on a Republican ticket. November 5, 2024, Donald Trump was elected on a Republican ticket. How many years after? 100 and something years after. And therefore what we need to do is to create political parties that have ideologies, invest in political parties, so that, for example, we avoid these personality cults that are characterize our elections. So when Uhuru Kenyatta says, for example, I want to stabilize Jubilee, I want Jubilee to move in the right direction, and then I want to hand over. Because that's what I heard him say, and I want to hand over. Then he says, then for example, Jubilee brings a president like Matiang'i. Maybe they'll get it wrong 1, 2. But then if the party lives on, and if, for example, the team that is taking over ODM agrees that ODM must have a succession plan and then becomes a political party that gets, for example, Jubilee gets the President Uhuru Kenyatta, and then maybe 2027 they get another president. Right. That would now be a very strong message to, if Matiang'i wins the presidency, that don't kill this party. This party can get us another president in 2062 or even 2050, 2032. So we need to build a culture of political parties. It has worked in other countries. I don't see why it shouldn't work in a country like Kenya. ANC has produced every South African president since 1994 when Nelson Mandela was elected president. Right. And therefore there's nothing really to suggest that we cannot have proper functioning political parties that will now kill the culture of tribal political parties, that will kill the culture of a personality cult around an individual, so that if that individual decides I am not running, the party is wound up. Political parties belong to people. And like Jeremiah Kioni used to say, on the register of political party, Jubilee is the party with the highest number of people. We have 7 million people. If those people are to believe in it and vote as a bloc, then that is a party to beat. And therefore we need to encourage the development of ideological-based political parties so that this country can also sanitize the political process.
Right. Dr. Makanga, perception is everything, and I don't know what will happen if the UDA candidate wins in terms of the perception in Mount Kenya region and them receiving money, them receiving goodies, receiving development projects. What will that signal to the other constituencies, the other wards, the other counties?
I think I'm telling you, it's going to be things are going to be because the truth is a test of political strength for Mount Kenya. Yes, we want to see what Honorable Kashako has been telling us, that he's the guy on the ground. Want to see it. If Uda wins, that means, a true reflection on the ground. Things are different. Yes, money has been given, which is an electoral offense. But the issue is, we have to make sure that we get it and see who is fooling who here. If at all DCP candidate wins, then we are able to say, actually, DCP is the party to watch in
Do you think anyone is fooling anyone?
Of course, if at all Uda wins, then it means that the Mount Kenya region, I think, has been fooling our friend Kashako, if we don't get through. And the issue of political parties, as my friend has said, I think we have a problem, a very serious problem. We can't be having every election we have a different party that wins election. Every election we have a different party. And I'm telling you, if there's a place that there's serious corruption, there is serious problems, is political parties. That's where the mess begins. And you will find very good candidates being dropped at the political party level because me, I know you, and we are friends. I'll just give you the party license, the party nomination ticket under the table. So people are making noise. We are saying that things will happen. Let me give you a very bad example that happened in Malaba. This teacher is may his soul rest in peace. He was my cousin. Yeah, this gentleman was the principal of Bungoma High School. Yeah, he's actually told, please, he is supposed to retire some 3 years to come. He's doing very well academically. He's a doctor like me. We are neighbors at home. The guy's done very well. I can tell you the guy did very well in terms of development. His family could be able to survive well in case he lives. But now, this gentleman comes in and he's told he's running on a ticket. 5 candidates are being told, can you come in? And so along the way, Musalia comes in. Musalia comes in and says, no. I closed my party. ANC, and the only party now, the only guy I want us to support is now the current guy who won the election. And now on the ground, this guy has spent a lot of money. He has spent more than 10 million, you see, trying to push the agenda of UDA.
Yeah.
Then Musalia comes, he does an event in the home of this other gentleman. So what happened to my cousin? He goes there and he's shocked and he collapses and he dies. Choppers are there to be able to take this guy to the nearest medical facility, because they carried him from there in a vehicle. And the earliest they could get in Kakamega was like around maybe 30 minutes or 40 minutes. Unfortunately, this guy died, and may his soul rest in peace. So the issue is the unfairness in political parties, I think, is one of the biggest problems that we are having in Kenya, which must be solved in terms of how fair, even if you are the one who is fair on the ground. This issue of Kisii having a political party, Luyas having a political party, Wakambas having a political party, now Jubilee being looked at, Mount Kenya, but this bill looked at, like, these things, I think, just spoiling the mathematics in terms of fair politics in Kenya. And I think, as my friend has said, I think there comes a time when we should just have a serious political party like ANC, something that can be able to be looked at the way KANU was there for almost 25 years. But as we are speaking right now, we have more than 100 political parties, and even more are being registered.
But
and
would you say KANU was ideology in terms of what it stood for?
I mean, KANU was not. I mean, KANU, you know, I was one of the bodyguards for President Moi, and I know what was happening. I mean, these guys were staffing wards, seriously staffing wards, and you cannot blame Moi per se, because I was a bodyguard for President Moi. Moi didn't have issues. It's like what is happening in Uganda. I can tell you for free. I've been an advisor for President Museveni for 5 good years. Yeah, from 2010 up to 2015. Yeah, the problem is not Museveni. The problem is the guys who went with him in the bush. And these guys are very old, very old. They tell this old man, who are we leaving this thing for? We fought in the bush. Who are we leaving these things for? We can't leave for Bobby Wine. Bobby Wine is just a young guy. Now, the youths in Uganda do not know these things of the bush. I can tell you. Some of them were born after that bush thing, because they don't know. But now the issue is, we've got people who've clinged on this thing, and they are telling Museveni, my friend, hang on until you die. Then from there we can be able to give you this thing to your son, because we are not safe. What we have actually taken, we are not safe. Now the same thing is now what I think is going to happen. It has happened in a place like Tanzania. I was in Tanzania and I was asking citizens, guys, do you like Mama? You're telling me, don't even ask that question, because we can be picked any time. Don't even ask that question. We don't like her. But now she fluked the whole thing, using the system, using the police, and that is it. Well, that's the problem we're having in Africa, where political parties are not showing democracy. We're having a very big problem in Africa, and this will continue being there. Uganda is a very good example, and I'm very sure if the gentleman, Bobby Wine, could have not found a way to run away out of that country, I'm sure he could be in Luzira right now as we speak.
Right, and this thing of African presidents wanting to cling on to power for the longest time. Even here in Kenya, you've had some members of parliament and leaders and talking about, the president's term should be extended to 7 years and whatnot. What do you make of this? What needs to change? Is it our constitution? What needs to happen? That urge of them wanting to just be there for the longest.
Before I answer the question, I was listening to my colleague who was talking about Uhuru Kenyatta and Jubilee. But I would ask myself, because I was the one who led the prayers for Jubilee from 2013 to 2018 all along, because I sincerely believed in Uhuru. He was a much better person than Ruto. But what was stopping Uhuru from handing over that party when he was president? Because when you're a president, you should start delegating those powers. The problem with us in Africa, we don't know how to groom the youth. Once we get a seat, we want to sit on it forever. And I remember my icon, Mo Ibrahim, in one of the interviews, he was like, what is wrong with Africa? A guy at 84 is being held by 2 people, and he still wants to lead us. Lead us where? To the grave. Lead us where? To the grave. This is guy who Mugumoje kwa kaburi tayari, and he still wants to lead us.
Yeah.
So that's the problem. When Uhuru Kenyatta was retiring, he was saying, hey, he's very young. What do you mean very young? But on the other hand, I look at it. If we have a good leader, why should we limit his terms? If you have got a good wife, why should you change her to bring another wife just because she has built your home? If this man, you see, this is the thing that the West is always selling to us, but then they have matured in democracy, unlike us in Kenya. In Kenya, democracy hardly has matured. So if we have a president who has brought development, and like Kibaki. Okay, let's give the issue of Mwai Kibaki.
But no matter how good of a president you are, your term has to come to an end.
That's what the constitution says. I'm now going the African way. Let us think as Africa. That if I have a person who is running the country very smoothly, what should be done is that he should be told to groom someone so that by the time he's finishing his term, or we can add one more term the way we did for Ronald Reagan. In Ronald Reagan for 3 terms. Why? Because he was running the country very well. So you can add 1 term. So this one now makes the person in power comfortable. But when he knows, like you see with Moi, during our childhood days, we had free education. It was not Kibaki who bought it. Moi, it was free education. We used to get milk in the school. Okay? The only time Moi became, should we say, a villain is when now he saw that the power is going. That is when now he became very aggressive after 90s. So in other words, we have got to look at both sides of the coin. That on one side, yes, we are limiting the term. On the other side, I was also on the public participation when Cheragai had brought in the bill of increasing the the term limit for the president and other governors and so forth. And if you look at that video, I gave very basic facts of why that term should not be increased. But when it comes to party politics, the friend is saying we have to mature. But with who? Because you guys are not ready to hand over or groom, not even hand over, groom the youth into position. Like right now, I'm in Linda Mwananchi. But sad to say, you find the same senators, the same governors are the ones who are given the podium to speak. You as a senator should be showing what you're doing on the ground. You don't need to speak on the podium. You should just be introduced that Senator Fulani ko hapa, Governor Fulani ko hapa. The young aspirants who are coming in who don't have the resources to go around campaigning hardly get the chance to speak or hardly get the chance to even meet the principals and tell them this is what we need on the ground. So if Linda Mwananchi, which we basically believe as youth, we are the ones who have held onto it, we are not being listened to. So what will you do? We will try and form another thing. Or what we will do is now we will sort of be accommodated into the current system. So basically we will have done nothing. That if you look from 2024, when we came into the streets, we did not come because we wanted to go for political office. No, that was not our intention. Our intention was, this is the finance bill, can you review it? That was the easiest thing for Ruto to do. He will just have reviewed the finance bill and said, ABCD, let's change it. But he came down very hard on us. And what happened? We became more aggressive. Today we are stronger than what we were at that time. Today we are more informed as the youth, and the citizens are more informed than what we were at that time.
Ngoima, do you think what Sheikh is saying is reasonable?
Maybe first is, he said President Reagan served for 3 terms. I think he served for 2 terms. The only president in America who served more than 1 term was President Roosevelt. And this is the man who guided America through the Great Depression. It was the Great Depression and the Second World War. And there was a reason. In fact, he didn't serve for 3 terms, he served for 4 terms. And the American Constitution at that time did not even provide for a 2 term. It was silent, but every president since George Washington resigned voluntarily after 4 years, after serving for 2 terms, 8 years. And then they amended their constitution, I think in 1951, to ensure that they put actually a term limit to their presidency. But besides that, I agree largely with what he's saying. But let's look at our country. And I always say that it is much easier to worship a dead hero than to recognize and follow a living prophet. People talk about the development of Mwai Kibaki, but I challenge people, I want us to sit down and write what Kibaki did and what Uhuru did. Uhuru tremendously transformed this country into something that everyone, wherever they were, felt it. When we were growing up, and you got, for example, a B plane sometimes, and even sometimes a B minus, you couldn't even join the university. Why? Because the university placement slots were so few. Uhuru just comes and says, it doesn't matter. Even these private universities are owned by Kenyans, and we are going to take our students there. Let everybody go and study there, and you are a government student. There is no, I mean, he did quite a bit. In terms of development, he doubled the tarmac. I mean, 15 years of Mzee Kenyatta, 24 years of Moi, 10 of Kibaki, he did times 2 the amount of tarmac that this country had. There is a story about Uhuru that has not been told about in this country, but largely is because as sitting president, he was deputized by a very reckless deputy president whose work was to attack him and give stories that were negative about government. But There's a debate that was going on there. The Law Society of Kenya
Right.
observers talk about the electoral system going on very smoothly. This is now where electoral pharisees begin. The electoral process is not on the election day. It starts before elections. We have the pre-election period, which is a period through which all the electoral malpractice, bribery, election preparedness. For example, in Ol Kalou, there was a recruitment of all polling clerks. It was done there. There was a recruitment of presiding officers. There was now and then there is the returning officer. That process, and then there will be what we call this is what we call the system, the system, the process, and the people. All of that has already happened. So if the process is rigged, then on the election day, all that people do is that because they are diligent Kenyans and they are decent Kenyans and they know what their civic responsibility is to wake up and walk into a polling station. Then you get a very compromised clerk, you get a very compromised IBC, and then you have a messed up system with a pre-entered data. I mean, these innocent Kenyans wouldn't know that that has happened. So the process is already done. There's an iceberg under the sea. They haven't seen it. Then there is the post-election process, which is now the process that tests the credibility of the exercise of the election. There is the voter tallying, there is the counting, there is the announcement, all these things. Now, even 2007, the voting was so smooth. There was zero violence. We all went into the polling stations, got ballot boxes that were very transparent, and we cast our votes and we put in. Now, the previous period before election, the political temperatures had been taken so high, and then the government was accused of rigging the process, and then the consequential effect is that even the chairman of IBC did not know who won. So we must not fall into that trap of these observers. Some of them are also, they can come there, and because I am, for example, the LSK representative in Nyandarua, and I'm not casting aspersion, he is not a person from Mars. He's not beyond reproach. They're not Caesar's wife. They could also be compromised to come and be
so
observers.
Anybody could be compromised.
Government hires observers who pretend to be neutral, but they are agents of state. So we must be very careful. Then there is two institutions that are on trial, IBC and the National Police Service.
Yes.
Those institutions are on trial. Now, you talked about what happens if, for example, the Gachagua or DCP loses this election. Let me tell you what will happen, because I'm from Mount Kenya. What happens is that he is humbled and he is forced to listen to people, because many leaders accuse him of not listening. Even, for example, let's go to Mbere. DCP may have been a political party there, Jubilee. Jubilee withdrew its candidate in Mbere in favor of a DP candidate. Why? Because Justin Muturi came from the United, and is in DP, and the candidate who was MP before was Rocco, who was DP, and therefore that argument was very, very well sold out. And then we said, okay, let's leave it to DP in the spirit of a united opposition. Then now come Ol Kalou, where the seat was held by Kerao. The same logic, the same common sense did not apply because of this bravado. So perhaps also, if he loses this election, we will look at him and say, by the way, Jubilee had the better candidate, but the hype and the and the rocket man syndrome that has characterized DCP and UDA was taken to Ol Kalou, and consequently, they won. Now, let me tell you something. Ol Kalou, 10 billion shillings, that's what Moses Kuria told us. 10 billion shillings has been deployed there. I can tell you they can win that seat, but they are not able to deploy 2.9 trillion because we have 290 constituencies on election dates.
On election dates.
They won't be able to. And then they have put 1,000 police officers. Let me tell you, the total population of police officers in Kenya is between 115 and 120. They don't have 290,000 to take to every constituency. And then they don't have about 60-something thousand to put in every station. So they can do what they want to do here. But the sad reality is that they have invested their mind, their soul, and their body in Ol Kalou. If they fail, if they fail, then this experiment is like the one that was being done by Joseph Mengele on human beings the Nazi people. It will be a disaster of untold proportions.
Not laughable, but
yeah.
Thank you so much. And of course, we continue to observe voting that is going on in various polling stations. In Ol Kalou, we can see there is security, seemingly calm, and everything is going. Just for clarification, by the way, Ronald Reagan served for just 2 terms. Franklin Roosevelt served for 4 terms. So yes. Ngoima was right, yeah. All right, let's come to you, Dr. Makanga. Do you agree with Ngoima when it comes to maybe, he's spoken about Jubilee and of course DCP party, how every party in the united opposition gave way for the DP party in Bere North. But we didn't see that scenario in Ol Kalou. DCP decided to go all the way and did not give way to the Jubilee candidate, given that the previous person or member of parliament who held the seat was a Jubilee person. So do you think that Gachagua should have given way?
Yes, but now the problem is the way Kenyan politics normally works. You know, DCP has come after Jubilee. Yes, and you know, sometimes you may blame this guy, you may blame Gachagua. If you look at his background, where he came from, you know, Gachagua is those old DOs, those old, you know, those guys. It's either you do it
just decided to call him
don't. So with that type of training, you don't expect Gachagua to tell you or kiss you or do what. My friend, Gachagua is somebody who was brought up in a very, you know, you either do it or you don't. And number two, they sometimes.
But what about consensus and
that's
teamwork?
what I'm telling you. You see, Gachagua, if there are some people, he can forgive you, forget it and move on. But I'm telling you, Gachagua is not that type. He's not that type. The issue is, he feels very painful to have actually played a very significant role, a very big role in putting this government in place by making sure that he mobilizes the Mount Kenya vote to vote for the current president. Unfortunately, along the way, these guys could not agree. And then from there, the guy is shown parking. But also, I also look at the same thing and ask, I think the former president, sometimes people blame him, but I always say, Uhuru, I think the leadership skills he has, I think just exceptional. Yes. From the presidents we've had since independence, I think God gave him some sort of, you forget it. I'm sure if I was Ruto, or the people who actually advised Ruto, I could have told my team, just forget about him. Let him roam around to what, but the issue of impeachment could not have come in. Because also, he was a thorn in the flesh for the former president. And I'm telling you, Uhuru just try to persevere. Yani, you just persevere somebody for the term to end and you move away and something like that. But now, this gentleman, Gachagua, is that type of hard guy who says, if it's a potato, it's a potato. If it's a yam, it's a yam. Let's fire. So, you cannot come his way and say that you could bring another candidate. Comparatively, as my colleagues have said, actually the TP candidate is more focused, more educated, looks more sober. Unfortunately, you heard what they're saying. You better vote for the devil. The devil, you don't know that the angel that. So that's where the problem will come in. The issue. These guys are looking at. I talked to many of them. They would rather go for this guy than the government taking it. But now there's an disadvantage, which my colleague has talked about. If they play wrong, what's going to happen is that those votes are going to be spoiled. You'll find Jubilee has taken a chunk of it, DCP has taken a chunk of it, and you find a candidate from the government passing in the middle. Right. That's what normally happens in some of these elections, where you find you have a very good candidate, but because of and that's why you find people are really crying. They are saying, guys, please save us, save us. If you want to take the president home, then can you make sure that you look for a candidate, compromised candidate that you agree on, and then you have also a compromised candidate you agree on number 2. Then from there, these guys are able to unite the country and are able to move on. Okay. But now the problem here is personal interests. Those personal interests are the ones that have actually missed us, because you will find somebody saying, let's assume they picked Kalonzo Musyoka as the presidential candidate. They picked Sifuna as number 2. Yeah. Matiang'i says no. Pressure from the ground. No. As we didn't want to talk number 2 or number 1. We wanted number 1. So what's going to happen? He'll say, come shine, come rain, I must appear on the ballot. Now, if that happens the way it has been happening, because you look at Kenyan politics from when multi-party came in, that has been the undoing of the opposition. You play very well, then you forget. Now, coming to last year's election, the 2022, yeah, the issue is, Kibichu was the government. Raila was the government. Uhuru was the government. So what happened? The issue is you just fail to understand the basics. And from there, this team just exploits you, and at the end of the day, these guys get in. Yeah? The issue here is people must be able to plan themselves well and know that anything can happen as far as elections are concerned. I'm a son of a bishop, and I learned the hard way. I used to think politics is about good people being inducted. I learned that in politics, my friend, we are talking about being shrewd and making sure that things move the way you want them to move without compromising. And that's why the issue of goons, whether the police do what, yeah? The issue of goons as far as 2000. Look at what is happening in Nakuru. Look at what's happening in Nairobi. Just look at what's happening with the current governors. You think you will snag this thing from their mouth when they are saying like this? No way. Somebody will say, I would rather hire goons to make sure they deal with this man so that I'm able to get this thing. And that's now where we are missing the point. And we must pray, God, that it touches people to be able to know. When you go somewhere, people are making noise. People think you are the guy who is being supported so much. But on the ground, you'll find that people are getting there. They just want to eat our government money that has been sent to the ground through the devolution, which was a very nice idea of sending the money back to us in the counties. Right. But what is happening? People are trying to use this thing to make money. You will see any big project you see in the counties, you'll be told this one belongs to the governor.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
All right, Sheikh, you know, talking about, you know, the previous holder of this seat was a Jubilee candidate. And Ol Kalou was against the tide in the 2022 elections. They voted for a Jubilee candidate against UDA, which dominated the Mount Kenya region. So, and what does that say about them? We keep talking about DCP, we keep talking about UDA, but if they did that in 2022, do you think they can pull something like that today?
Yes, I will not rule it out. You see, the thing is, Kenyan politics is decided by three major issues: a narrative, a tribalism, and cash. No one asks you for your manifesto. Very few people. That's why, and these politicians have learned a very cunning way. If you see when they're doing campaign, they will not go to the high-grade areas. They'll go to the slums because they know the slums either buy the narrative or the tribalism or the cash. These are the three issues that stand out when it comes to being elected anywhere. So Ol Kalou went against the tide. Can it give us a surprise? Yes, it can. But on the other hand, the way I say it is, these politicians make elections, it's like a personal issue for them. It's not about our issues. And that is where we are saying that, the way my friend said, we need civic education. We need a lot of civic education to make the masses understand that this 1,000 shilling, because I know I've been on the ground, and these so-called goons that you're saying, in Kisumu, they sort of hang onto our cars. Sabu, there's one of our ladies, she went and said, I'm going for women's representative. And when she had finished talking, mheshimiwa tukupeleka kwa gari. So by the time they were taking her to the car, sasa utoe kitu kidogo, tumekuleta mpaka gari. And they basically broke our car, they nearly broke our car kama tungewapatia pesa. So these guys, it's poverty. It's poverty that is there. It's not just about gouvernism. I usually call it poverty, not even poverty. But the politicians usually keep the masses ignorant. They don't want to do civic education. They don't want to spend money in civic education. IBC spends trillions of money, and we don't even know where that money goes. Okay, so first and foremost, we need civic education. Then, should Jubilee win that seat, I think that will be a better option than anything else.
Interesting.
That will make us understand that Ol Kalou residents are thinking maturely. That will make us think that our politics in Kenya is maturing.
It's maturing.
Okay? And for us, you know, Ol Kalou is sort of like, the way I say it's a blueprint for what is coming in 2027.
In 2027.
And now, just as I finish up, is I want us, especially the media, I want to appeal to you that please help us, the youth, reach out and do civic education.
Okay.
Remember those who are watching us on TV or on radio, these are the literate people, but what about the masses?
All right, thank you, Sheikh.
The campaign.
Thank you, Sheikh. And of course, we are keeping a very close eye in Ol Kalou constituency where people or residents are still voting casting their vote there. We will going to be monitoring everything that is happening there. And of course, we have Mbataru Mwangi, who will be updating us as we go on. For now, we're going to be taking a short break. We'll be back in just a moment.
Muthenya mwega umenyekanaga riũa rĩkiuma ngo-inĩ, na ũngĩkorwo na mũtirithania mwega noguo mũthenya waku ũthakaraga na ũkagĩrĩra. Na nĩkĩo gũkũ gwa Kameme TV tũrĩtirithanagia nawe kwagĩrithia mũthenya waku.
Nanie Mobi wa Chege.
Njĩtagwo Kĩmani wa Ngũnjiri.
Nanie Njoroge wa Kĩmani.
Atunyitanĩre ithuothe niĩ Maina Kĩhumo.
O mũthenya wa Jumaine nginya wa Gatano kwambĩrĩria thinashara cia kĩroko nginya thaa 4 cia rũcinĩ.
Asante kwa kunipigia kama sikiza tune yako. Dial star 811 star 622 hash.
K24.digital brings you 24/7 entertainment. From the pitch to the playlist, from celebrity gossip to the memes you love. We're not just news, we're your non-stop ticket to everything cool and trending. So get in the know. K24.digital. Follow the buzz 247.
Thutha wa nduma nene nĩ ũtheri mũnene, narĩo riũa rĩa wega rĩgacangarara na kũrehe ũtheri ona mwĩhoko wa muoyo.
Riboti ya Ngai ĩrauga atĩ niĩ ndarĩ tondũ ndĩ haha ndĩmwĩre atĩrĩrĩ, I am a living testimony. Kwĩ Ngai matu-inĩ ũkaga ihinda rĩrĩa rĩagĩrĩire.
Tabarĩra ya gĩthima kĩa muoyo rĩu nĩ ĩragũkinyĩra kũhetũkĩra Kameme TV.
Ũkĩaga kũinũkia kĩndũ reke ũndũ ũyũ ũkinye mũico.
Ũgĩtabarĩrwo nĩ Martin wa Janet HSC.
Tabarĩra ya gĩthima kĩa muoyo ĩrĩkorwo ĩgĩũka haha ũkamenya kĩhonia na ũgathikĩrĩria na ũgateithĩka.
Nĩ
nio muthenya wa kana kwambĩrĩria thaa 2 cia hwaĩ-inĩ na gũcokera muthenya wa Jumatatu thaa 8 cia mĩaraho.
Ndũkahetũkwo nĩ tabarĩra ĩno nĩ amu haha nĩho gĩthima kĩa muoyo.
All right, thank you so much for staying here with us on Kamembe TV and K24. We continue to give you all the updates coming live from Ol Kalou constituency in Nyandarua County, where voting is going on. And right now we are going to be speaking to our reporter Francis Wawira, who is in one of the polling stations to give us an update on how the process is going, how IEBC is conducting this whole process. Francis, if you can hear me, it's good to see you. How's the process so far?
Shukran Mombi, na kupata vizuri kutoka hapa kaunti ya Nyandarua, eneo bunge la Ol Kalou. Na ukweli ni kwamba wakazi wa hapa wamejitokeza kwa wingi zaidi ili kuhakikisha kwamba wamemchagua mbunge wao mpya ambaye atawawakilisha kwa muda wa miezi 13. Kama unavyoona ni kwamba wakazi wako hapa wamejitokeza, na kwa sasa nimekita kambi katika kituo cha Nyakiambi ambayo iko ndani ya wandi ya Mirangini. Na ukweli ni kwamba wakazi wamejitokeza, na tunaweza tu zungumza na mmoja hapo. Karibu sana, hapa ni K24. Zungumza na sisi tu kidogo. Hapa ni K24, halafu tuweze kutueleza ulifika saa ngapi na unatarajia nini? Kwa majina?
Kwa majina naitwa Jane. Nilifika hapa saa 4 na tuko hapa kwa line, inaenda vizuri. Tunangojea jioni, tunafikiri matokeo itakuwa mazuri.
Unatarajia haki yako itaonekana kupitia kura ambayo utaweza kuweka kwa ballot?
Haki yako itapatikana. Na najua wenye wako huko watafanya mambo mazuri, hakuna kitakuwa baya.
Shukran sana. Tunaweza pata mzee mwingine hapa, unaweza anza kwa majina yako alafu tueleze. Ndio naona uko karibu kuingia kwenye kituo cha uchaguaji. Wewe je, una matarajio yapi na ulikuja hapa saa ngapi?
Okay, sisi kwa majina ni Joseph Meru. Mimi ni mkaaji hapa Ol Kalou. Na tuna expect kula itapigwa kwa amani, na tuna hope mwenye tunataka ataingia.
Asante sana. Hapa kuna mwingine. Shukrani baba yetu. Karibu sana. Hapa ni K24, nimeona umeweza kupiga kura. Unaweza kutueleza uko ndani umena mpangilio wa mambo iko namna gani huko?
Sawa sawa. Iko kwa jina naitwa Titus Madenge. Huko mpangilio wa IBC iko sawa sawa na hakuna maneno mingi. Ni kufuti tu.
So unatarajia nini ambapo after umevote unatarajia nini?
Natarajia mambo mazuri.
Shukran zaidi. Umeweza kuelewa kwamba umeweza kusikiza wakaaji wa hapa. Amefurahia kwamba ameweza kuchaguana na anajua haki yake ya kuchaguana itaweza kufika huko kwa Tarring Center ambapo mbunge mpya ataweza kukua anajulikana ni nani. Sina mambo mingi, na kutoka hapa tunaenda katika kituo kingine ili kuhakikisha kwamba tumejua ni yepi ambayo yanaendelea kujitokeza katika eneo bunge la Ol Kalou. Kwako Mombi, kutoka huku Nyakiambi, mimi naitwa Francis Wawira.
Now, thank you so much, Francis Wawira, giving us an update in one of the polling stations on how things are going. People still turning out. He will be going to a different polling station to just update us on what is going on and all the issues that are there. voting for their next member of parliament. A very heated issue between UDA. Of course, we have DCP, Jubilee, and other parties there. We'll continue to update you on everything that will be going on in Ol Kalou constituency in Nyandarua County as the members or residents of that constituency continue to cast in their votes. Let's come to you, Dr. Makanga. The whole issue of tokenism in Kenya it's a big deal. It's a horrible thing, and we've seen it in Ol Kalou. We saw it previously in Bere and other regions in other areas. It's always present during every election. How do we deal with this issue of politics of tokenism?
It cannot end because one, I've told you, the referee is you see and you don't say. Yesterday I was talking to one of the election officials and I was asking him, I'm told this guy is carrying people from this constituency and bringing them. And you know what he told me? It's allowed. It's allowed. It's not an offense. This is an election, an IBC election official telling me it's not an offense. So what people are normally doing is that for you to be able to conduct votes, to get a lot of votes, you carry people from here, you put them here. Number two, the issue of poverty. What happened in Malava, I was there personally, I saw. It was a question of if the opposition has got a rally in one end, you simply border 3 guys, and then from there you find your way to that place. When you hear the government is coming on the other side, you are able to move on. So the issue of poverty has been a problem, and of course, when you talk about poverty, we are saying you cannot be employed as a police officer or as an army officer unless you use shortcuts, and that's why you find the police are having issues on terms of the officers who are on board, because long time ago you could get into the police without anybody helping you, as long as you meet the requirements that are put in place. You would go to the field and you are taken. But right now what's happening is that we have got guys who have got route to their parents have got money, they are able to buy their way, and they get in the National Police Service. You find now the IG is struggling to make sure that he puts order, because somebody joins the National Police Service and wants to focus on being a traffic policeman, where he sees money is ready to be able to move on. And this has been a very big problem that the society is rotting. And I'm telling you, the issue of money being given by politicians will not end. It will only end if IBC is able to implement that rule that says you will not give out money, you won't be able to get chaos. People sign that thing, that form that you sign, that you can't give out money, you will be in violence, all those things that you sign as a candidate. And then from there, IBC does not take action. They just see people giving out money. And there are so many videos circulating on the ground where women are lined up and are being given. I saw one, people being given 5,000 each. So if somebody can be able to give like around 100 people 5,000 each, you can imagine how much money. That's almost like a $500,000. Now, that is what is actually driving the two things. There's no question about strategy. There's no question about you want to help members of the public. It's a question of how much money do you have. And in the Kenyan politics, I can tell you, you have no money. Stop it. Go and sell tomatoes or something like that. You have no money, because you will talk to people and they will ask you a simple question. You're just leaving us like that. Forget about it. Right. And the rumor will go. They will just even post on the wall. Yeah. I remember there's a time when I went for a rally one time, and in my opponent's place. And my friend, after I finished, people asking for money. So what I did was that I gave out almost like around 60,000. Yeah, the money was not enough. So me, I drove off. You know what happened on the next time on the social media? My opponent had posted that I've called people for a rally and I'm unable to give them what? To give them money, and I've already given out already. So the issue is our politics is driven by money, and people are used to that. There's nothing you can do. You cannot get in politics without money. My friend, you'll be cheating. You go for a funeral. After you talk to people asking you are leaving the, you have to give the people who have been bereaved money. And after that, people will leave the funeral. They will go to wait for you outside. They block your vehicle. Yes. They want you to give out more money. If you can't give out money, your opponent will use that as a weapon to finish your political ambition. Basically, that's what is happening in Kenya right now. And the only person who can strike a whip is nothing but IEBC. They must put their house in. They have enough time to prepare. They have enough time to put monitors on the ground. They have enough time to make sure that every constituency has got monitors to see what's happening. They take photos, they take, and they're able to use that. Yeah. And like now, what we heard from Malava, where a whole judge is telling the whole court that yes, the PS was giving out mattresses. Yes, the PS was giving out money. Yes, the PS was giving out. Now, can you prove that the people that he was giving out money were voters for Malava? I mean.
Right. Sheikh, the first thing that these leaders do when they get into power, parliament, or become governors and so on, is try and get the money back in their pockets.
Yes.
Because they use a lot of money during campaign period. So how does a Kenyan expect your leader, the first thing they're going to do is get that money back, whether he used 50 million, 100 million, whatever it was. So how should Kenyans expect any development from a leader whose first priority is getting their money back? And the reason that is because when he goes to campaign, lazima apatiane kitu.
Yes, thank you so much. First and foremost, when it comes to what my colleague here said about importation of voters, I know I am very aware I'm vying in Parklands. A lot of the voters that the current MP and the former MP have do not reside in Westlands. But because the Westlands people, most of them are the Asian community, they don't go for CDF. So these guys have registered there to collect CDF. I know it. That is what happens. So because you find most of the electorate in Westlands comes from a certain community. When you find out where they are living, it's not Westlands. Or they don't even have business interests in Westlands. But because of CDF, they're ready to do that. And the way you are being told it's legal. It's not legal. If you don't have a business interest in that area, and if you don't have a residential in that area, you cannot vie in that area, you cannot vote in that area. So I think basically that IBC guy was lying to you. Secondly, the question that you have asked. During Bungela Gen Z, we used to have a Bungela Gen Z at Aga Khan Walk, and one of my topics was this. You go down on the ground, unaambiwa rekedo, magana mere, magana matano, yani leta pesa. Ukisema hauna, nikie na wewe sheikh. So when I give you that 200, wewe sio mama yangu ama dada yangu. When I go back to parliament, I start picking how much I've spent and how I'll get it back. Then unaanza kusema sheikh is corrupt. It's not corruption, it's return on investment. Okay, but we have to now start demystifying this thing that you have to give handouts. My friend Boniface Mwangi, who is running for presidential, he has printed a note. I wish I had known I would have come to that note. It is like 1,000 shillings. Lakini he has printed it himself and has printed kwamba corruption and the effects. And he has put his photo. So I gave it to a police officer. And when I give it to you, you might think it's money. Inakaa kabisa kama shilingi 1,000. Nini unanipatia? So you see, he expected money. He took it. He took it very gladly. He did not look at the message and he started abusing me. Nini unanipatia? So in other words, we are trying to demystify. It will take time. But that is the issue on the ground. Even with those that you are working around with. Okay? Leave alone even the knee. Even when the media guys come on the ground, they ask for knee for facilitation. It has become the norm. These days, like myself, I'm seen around in Linda Mwananchi and with the principals. Kila sana uliza na sheikh wewe unatembea ni kwani umesota. So you see, they don't expect that. They expect you to give them some token. And then when they vote based on that token, they don't think that even if I give you 1,000 shillings, 1,000 shillings for 5 years, that means 200 shillings per year.
Per year.
What does that mean per day? Not even a shilling per day, because they're need. But people are so, and I think the political class has done this intentionally to keep the masses so poor and so ignorant that is ready to take 1,000 shillings. We can very well see openly in the videos the MPs for in Kisii giving the border borders 1,000 shillings openly. And where's NCIC? Where's anti-corruption? Where are they? These are bodies that are just earning salaries, and that's what I'm saying. Anti-corruption, NCIC, Ombudsman, IPOA should be disbanded. They have no role in this country. They are just earning salaries, and most of these guys are politically appointed. Okay? Last but not least, when it comes to violence, I have worked with some peace groups, and they have given me a logo that I would like to share here today. Your safety, my responsibility.
Okay.
Amani yako jukumu langu. When we start doing this narrative, kwamba your safety is my responsibility, we start become neighborly and we start now coming back as a society so that when come 2027, we will try and avoid this violence because this is the only country we have.
Right.
And in Africa, we are the only hub of peace. If we spoil this country, we will never get it back.
Right. Ngoima, how hard is it to tell someone, a Kenyan, maybe suffering, they have a family, a young person, they have to make ends meet, they don't have a job, they don't have this. I mean, they're not doing well. How do you tell such a person, you know, say no to tokenism?
It's very hard. You know, the problem, it's very hard to tell someone who is suffering to stop tokenism.
Yes.
But nothing stops you from telling him, even if you eat this money, vote right. Or nothing stops him from voting right even after taking that money. Of course, I am not a subscriber to the school of thought that encourages people to take tokenism and then vote right. I am one of those people who believe that they should not take tokenism and they should not encourage it because this is money taken from, this is a country where we have read reports that we can't give patients in Kenyatta National Hospital food. So that is money taken from a patient given to you. And because you don't really, you don't have to encourage that culture of tokenism. Of course, there is no dignity in poverty.
Right.
And what we are experiencing in Kenya today, we read a World Bank report, I think it was published this month, saying that another 2.5 million Kenyans will fall below the poverty line this year. I mean, if we can't understand this kind of language and we continue taking tokenism, we have a problem as a country.
Right.
So I think in our oversight institutions, the Anti-Corruption Commission, the police, the judiciary, parliament, they have all let us down. And I don't know whether we have a way out of it. I don't think we have a way out of it. We have seen the government telling us that that we have gone to Ol Kalou because there is no specific time when we need to, when we can't do development. There is no relationship between this money we are giving to these young people and the election because this is empowerment. You know, even who doesn't know that empowering a person is giving him education, empowering a person is creating job opportunities and all that kind of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ngoima. We are keeping an update in Ol Kalou. Of course, we continue to discuss the ongoing process. And right now, I'm told we are going to be speaking to Mbataru Mwangi, who is on ground. He is at a polling station to just give us an update on what is currently happening, the state of security. Mbataru, if you can hear me.
Thank you very much, Mombi Shege. Again, we continue traversing the various wards in Ol Kalou constituency, Nyandarua County, brought here by the by-election that was occasioned by the passing on of the former area MP David Keraho. And right now we are at Moiri Primary School, and this is in Karau ward. Previously we were at Kaimbaga ward, and this is one of the 5 wards that are in this Ol Kalou constituency. And if you can see behind me, you can see that the lines are still there, the queues are still there, and people are continuing streaming in to come and register with the whole electoral process of the ambao wamevote. Unaweza karibia tu hapa kiongozi, useme kama umevote. Okay, wacha tuongee na mzee hapa. Taja tu jina lako, alafu tuambie labda process imekuwa namna gani.
Okay. Utanisikia? Kwa process iko sawa. Shida yenye iko ni kwa vidole, fingerprints. Unakuta kulingana na kibarua chenye unafanya, unakuta fingerprint haziapi kwa ile kit. Sasa unaambiwa uende uoshe pale kwa mfereji, tena ukae kama dakika 10, tena urudi ndani. Ukirudi ndani tena unakuta haifanyi. Sasa nataka nirudi safari ya mwisho, niambiwe kama watatumia kitambulisho. Juu lazima ni vote.
Na kidole chako umeenda maini ya kwamba utapiga kura.
Lazima nitiagwene.
Ulifika mahala hapa kama saa ngapi hivi?
Kwa muda wa saa 3. Na bado niko hapa paka saa hii. Sasa vidole ndio shida. Nimetoka tu, mimi ni mkazi wa hii area ya Moiri. Just a kilometer from here. Yes.
Santi sana. That is one of the residents who has come here and he's registered about the complaint, because this is not the first person registering such a complaint. There are a number of cases that have come up about the fingerprints not really working. We're using the KIMS kit, and after them not working, it has come to the attention of IEBC, and what they're being told is to go and wash their fingers, wash their hands, and after washing them, they come back. Sometimes it doesn't work for the second time, and some of them are told to go bask in the sun to ensure that the fingers are not as cold. And I see some of the voters still coming in. Labda unaweza tuambie jina lako na utuambie kama umepiga kura ama utapiga kura ama umekuja hapa kwa sababu gani?
My name is Peris Kamau. I'm a voter here. Nimekuja, everything was running well from morning until when the area chief started coming and giving out bribes, but everything else was running smoothly. Still I haven't voted, but I'll vote in a few.
Okay. You still have the clarion call to other young people to come and register their votes. What was your call to them as a young person?
As a young person, I will encourage the rest of the young people democratic right, and for those who have not registered as voters, please unaweza kwa Huduma Center. Huko ndio IEBC wanakuanga na registration offices zao as we wait for the next general election. But in the meantime, if you're at home and you haven't voted, kindly come and vote. It's your democratic right, and we are the ones who choose our leaders. Saizi, our parents, they are old. If we want change for this country, you must kuja and vote. That's my message to all the young people out there.
All right. Thank you very much. I see the young people are streaming in even at this moment in time, and you'll just tell us your name na labda utuambie kama umepiga kura na kama haujapiga, kwa nini haujapiga hadi wakati huu.
Sawa. Kwa majina naitwa Wambui Nyambura. Ni mimi si mpiga kura hapa. Nimekuja kuobserve. Tulikuwa pale nje kuobserve the way members kuobserve just the outcome, the venye watu wanatokea. And the unmarked police came in and we were really harassed. And they caused a lot of tension amongst the members of the public. We had to get them back from home so that they can come back and vote. I'd ask the Ol Kalou voters to come because they have the power to change the leadership of this country. Also the young people ndio wanaingia sahi waendelee kukuja. Yes.
So around 8 a.m. we had an interview with the regional commissioner, that is Joshua Canada, and he said that there would be no presence of those hooded policemen. So you want to confirm that they were here and that they harassed voters in this area?
The hooded policemen, 9 in number, they came in a X-Trail car, KDN. They parked outside there. They came out with their guns and then started policing the place. They entered a few homes, asking people to go to their homes while they were also, watu walikuwa kwao. Sasa unaniambia nitoke kwangu niende kwetu nifanye nini niko kwangu. So they entered those homes, harassing those guys, which is not right. So there are people who are police, the hooded policemen. Their presence is in this constituency. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Thank you very much. Maybe something you wanted to add?
I forgot to say that those hooded policemen, they even had my photo on their phone, and they had purposely come to take me and 3 other guys. They had my photo in their phone. So I wonder, this is a peaceful area. Why will they be here? Yesterday I watched the news and the IEBC had said each policeman that is coming to guard the area should not be masked. They were masked. They didn't even have the uniform, so you can't even tell who this is. From that time, I have been threatened twice because they came up to where I was and told me to go back home, and I was like, "Why? This is my home. Where do you want me to go?" That's when they left. So after that, when I came to the gate of the polling station, the policemen that are here in the polling station told me, "Where Rasta? Ni untaka hapa?" And I'm like, "I'm coming to exercise my democratic right. Why are you chasing me away?" That's when they told me, umevote. I showed them my hands. I've still not voted. Kambia mi sija vote. I want to vote. That's when they played cool. But the hooded policemen were here and they are threatening people. To an extent, they are going to Homestead, home per home per home per home. And yesterday, I had the commissioner of the IEBC commissioner of this area specified every policeman that is coming to a polling station should not be hooded, should have his badge. Those ones, I saw they didn't have those things. They were even in civilian. So I will urge the government. This is our This is something that we are supposed to vote. I know my candidate of choice. They shouldn't be sending goons because apparently those are goons. If they were not, they wangekuwa wamejihood. Yes.
Thank you very much. And those are some rather saddening sentiments from locals in Moiri Primary School. This is in Karau Ward, and we continue following up on those because we had heard about them, and that is one of the reasons as to why we headed to this area, and we'll continue gathering information on what was happening, and after that we will have a comprehensive report on the same. Back to you, Mombi Shega in studio.
All right. That is Bataru Mwangi just giving us a report on everything that is happening. And some of the members there made quite allegations in terms of the presence of hooded policemen were there, but we're going to be delving into that. But right now, I want us to listen to the regional commander of the area and, of course, the DCP candidate, if we have those bites, Simon.
Na kazi yetu hasa ni kupeana usalama na kuhakikishia wananchi wa eneo hili ya kwamba usalama wao umehakikishwa na serikali. Tunataka kusema kwamba ama ku appeal to the citizens, wale hasa voters wa eneo hili wajitokeze kwa wingi, wakuje wapige kura. Hakuna haja kuwa na uoga ama nini, wakuje wa exercise their democratic right so that by the end of the day ama wakati zoezi likifungwa watakuwa wamejichagulia mjumbe yao. Tunataka kusema kwamba vituo zote zile IEBC wanafanya shughuli zao za kupigisha kura, walituomba pia sisi tukapeana askari. Nafikiria kila kitu iko na askari wawili wa kusimamia kila stream, na so far so good. Mahali wananchi watakuwa na tatizo, tunataka kuomba wa report chochote kile waona akiwafurahishi katika kituo cha polisi kile kiko karibu na wao, ama kwa wale askari wako karibu wale mahali wako.
Vile bwana RC ameongea, tushaweka officers wa kutosha wa kuangalia doria. Polisi wale wako hapa ni marafiki wa wananchi. Ndio maana unaona ukiangalia kamera zenu ukilenga huku na pale, unaona wananchi wana kutana na polisi wakiwa wanaongea. Tunataka kuhakikishia kwamba usalama huko wa kutosha. Wasiwe na wasiwasi. Ule ajepiga kura, aje apige kura. Kama kuna tatizo lolote, aeleze ofisa wowote wa polisi ambaye ako karibu naye ili aweze kusaidiwa. Otherwise, tangu asubuhi ianze hatujakuwa na tatizo kubwa lolote. Voting inaendelea vizuri na tunashukuru wananchi pia sababu wengi wao baada ya kupiga kura wanaenda nyumbani. Sorry? Kwa majina naitwa Geoffrey Mayek. Mimi ni Regional Police Commander wetu wa Central hapa.
The UDA candidate Samuel Mushina has said that they've witnessed some instances of voter bribery. Has it come to your attention?
Bado hatujapata ripoti yoyote kamili ama hatujakamata mtu yoyote kamili ambaye anahusika na hiyo, lakini wakati tulipata ripoti kama hiyo tukaeleza kitengo cha upelelezi CID waende chini wajaribu kutafuta nini imeendelea.
Very happy at the speed at which the IEBC is working. I had the privilege in the morning to visit several of the polling stations or polling centers. The turnout is very wonderful. The people have come out in numbers, and the officers that are there are doing quite a commendable job. Just a few hitches here and there that are common. Like in the morning, some of our agents were asked to provide copies of the ID, which is not a requirement by law. But we had the RO solving the problem adequately. So from where I sit, the process is going on very nicely. The security is very tight. The people are coming out in numbers, and I imagine them to continue coming out. There's still time until 5. Those that are still traveling, we wish them well, safe journeys to arrive here on time, so that every vote counts. That is what we want. Every vote must count. We must exercise that right that is there in our constitution, what we call universal suffrage. Let everyone have the right to vote. Thank you.
Are you confident of winning?
Well,
of course.
I have done my campaign very well. I've put my trust in God. The numbers are very good from the exit polls, both from our side and even the side that we are competing with. The margins are very wide, and you'll see in a few hours. So, to answer your question, in the affirmative, it's an obvious yes.
That is the DCP candidate speaking earlier. He said that everything has been going on well. And of course, we did hear from the regional police commander explaining how the situation has been. But something did come out when Bataru was speaking to some of the residents there who casting their votes. And they said that there was presence of hooded policemen. And that was after the regional police commander said that there wouldn't be presence of such police. So coming to you, Dr. Makanga, what do you make of that? The police contradicting themselves, and also why would you have hooded policemen there?
I think the court gave out an order that from the Gen Z protests that police should not be able to operate without identification. So that's another problem in Kenya, where you find, we are breaking the law and we know. And as I said, this is an event that there was enough time to prepare. There's enough time to train police officers on how they're supposed to conduct themselves in such an event, one-day event, or let me say 2 days event. So it's very disheartening when you see members of the public are saying that they are being interrogated by hooded policemen. At this age and time, surely, there are things that you look at it and you wonder, on the ground, things are different. When what you are telling us is different, you can see the police commander saying that everything is okay on the ground, and yet you can see the public complaining that we've hooded policemen who are chasing them to go back to the house. So at the end of the day, I know Kenyans can go to vote. When they vote, they have nothing to do with they will go back to their house, because at the polling station we've got what we call the agents who will be able to monitor what is happening. I mean, such things are the ones that as much as we are having what we call police reforms, these are issues that now distance members of the public and the police, because every day we are talking about police reforms, police being able to tokenize it to members of the public, police being able to assist members of the public in such a type of an event. But now you find what they are talking on the ground is different, what is happening on the ground is what is different. And this is where now such a police officers are letting the police officers down. I can tell you we have a very good police force, for police service. I can say in Africa, because I've gone to South Africa and I've seen what is happening there. I've stayed there, I've seen what is happening there. One day I alighted at Johannesburg, and immediately I alighted. The first person to confront me was a police officer. I looked at him and I identified myself. He was shocked. He left me to go where? Because he thought I'm being a Kenyan. I mean, what am I coming to do? I told him what I was coming to do in South Africa, and I think the guy left. The issue is we better train the police officers, and the problem we have right now is operational planning. People being able to plan well, and then from there we are able to execute well when it comes to elections. But now when we have police officers in police uniforms, properly identified, then we have others again in hoods, and they are doing the funny things. These are things that the guy in charge of the whole operation should be able to make sure we stop. Because if we go this way, I think the distance between members of the public and the police will keep on widening. And when it keeps on widening, I think we're going to have a very big problem.
Right. Sheikh, I don't know what Dr. Makanga has said about that in terms of you know, they need to be well trained. But do you think it's determined by the regime currently in power? I mean, how do you compare the National Police Service now currently under President Ruto and previously under President Uhuru Kenyatta?
Who told you the police are not trained? They are very, very well trained. In fact, some of them, I pity the conditions they go through. The problem is orders from above. I am supposed to, you know, we did what we call community policing, so I was part of that program. And I came out with a narrative. Wewe kama ofisa wa polisi ukifuata sheria, nitakuheshimu kama ofisa wa polisi. Kama sivyo wewe ni raia mwenye uniform. You are just a civilian in uniform. And I am not obligated to a civilian in uniform. That's why you see us, the Gen Z youth, when you're on the ground, we even attack these guys in plain clothes. Why? Because according to the law, he has not identified himself. This is a civilian trying to attack me. I don't know whether you're a goon or not, and I have the right to defend myself. Okay? So, telling me that they're not trained, they're trained. And most of these guys who are coming in hooded masks and whatever, I'm sorry to tell you this. When I was arrested by a hooded police officer, it was a Ugandan. It was not a Kenyan. You could clearly see from his image that and he had masked himself. And he told me, you'll go back to your country. Which country? I am Kenyan, my dear. So you ask yourself, what is going on? And then you also know, Besigye was abducted right on our borders. So which law are we following? Okay? We have got members of the East African Legislative Assembly, Winnie Odinga and what's his name, Musyoka's son, and the others, Kanini Kega. These are, what have they raised these issues there? These are people who are making noise now here. Kanini Kega the other day was attacked. When it is about him, he makes noise. But what did he do when Boniface Mwangi was being abducted in Tanzania? When Bob Njagi was being abducted in Uganda? When Besigye was being picked from here? As the Legislative Assembly member of East Africa, there's a court there. When Martha Karua is being refused to entry to Uganda, which laws are they following? Where were these MPs? So basically our legislators, you are coming to look for local positions when we have been given positions in the Legislative Assembly of East Africa. You have done nothing for us. So what are you trying to tell us? So I'm seeing the harassment of voters. I ask myself, why harass a voter? He has voted, he has gone, he doesn't even, you don't know which side he has voted. He might even have voted for the person who has sent you. So why is the harassment? It is trying to show what you call the police officers usually incite violence. Our protests, when we go, are very peaceful. We are commemorating our colleagues. We have every right to just go and put a flower next to Parliament where you were shot. We are being incited, and then you are being told the protests are violent. The other day we had a very large protest for femicide. It was done right in the middle of town. It was done on a working day. We did not block the roads. We did not close down any shop. All the people were watching, and that is what we call maturity. So if the government would have shown the same response to our protests, most of these protests will just bring out the message that we want to bring. We are not here to go and destroy other people's property. These are people that are our citizens. Okay, these are people who pay taxes just like us. Why will we destroy their property? Even banning a police vehicle. Right. That police vehicle belongs to us. It is our taxes that bought that police vehicle. So we are not the ones who are violent. It is the government which is doing it intentionally. And this is what is going to break down this country. Right. And this is what I'm afraid of.
Right. Ngoima, I want to understand something. The harassing of voters, as you know, those ladies explained, by these hooded policemen. Why? What is the reason? One of them actually said that one of the police officers showed her picture, and you know she explained that I'm going to cast. I think she said she's voted, and then she showed the mark. So what is the point of that?
Like I said earlier, this is a template the government is using for 2027, and the truth of the matter is that. They're telling us they have deployed 1,000 police officers. They possibly could be having another 1,000 undercover and some prison warders from committee, others from Nanyuki Maximum Security Prison, others from NYS, and then real goons. Real goons, some in uniform, some in civilian. Because let me tell you something. This issue of goonism, when a young lady says that they even had my photo, number one, it could be an indication that they have now felt the pressure and that they are actually losing, because it's possible to tell when you're losing. And also, maybe they have also been given data by IEBC on what the turnout is, and in areas where the perceived stronghold of their opponent is. And therefore they can use all manner of, maybe that's, it's even coercion. Perhaps they have no interest of even arresting her, but it's pressurizing her, pressurizing the others like her.
Maybe she's one of the mobilizers.
And maybe she's one of the mobilizers.
Yeah.
And therefore what they're doing is what we call intimidation. And number one, like my colleague here said, there is an explicit court ruling that any police officer in an operation area should be in uniform and properly identified. And therefore, when the police act in this manner, they are in clear violation of the law and a court ruling. Now, the third contradiction is that our judges still give audience to the police. You know, you just make a determination and say, in the event that the police violate the law and they bring a person to us, we shall not hear them. And this is a country where we need to check each other. The police are supposed to investigate. If a judge is corrupt, arrest that judge. And then the police, the judges, if a police officer is corrupt, just do the same. And I'm telling you, the issue of goonism is a very serious issue. And I think we're just grossing it over it as a country. If you look at the history of Somali, the collapse of the Somali regime was as a result of the emergence of small militias being controlled by tribal and clan leaders. And it mutated to what now brought down the entire government of Somalia and also gave birth to the Al-Shabaab. If you look at Sudan, when Omar al-Bashir was unable to handle the south, he brought in Janjaweeds. They were militias. They were an Agun and a militia. There's no distinction. It is just it is semantics. It's one and the same. But now it's only that one operates at a very high scale and the other one may be low scale. But equally, they go and graduate. So if you see this issue of goons is a very serious issue and should be taken with the seriousness it deserves. I am surprised, and my colleague here said he's the son of a bishop. I'm the son of a pastor. I'm concerned that the church is quiet and he's a sheikh. So the church is represented in this table. And it's a shame that the church has remained quiet about what is happening in this country. The media itself is being used by politicians to sanitize this thing, because you bring in the police commander talking nicely and showing that everything is going on well, so that then they will now come and blame it on some extraneous issues. All nations that have gone to dogs, even Rwanda, we had the Interahamwe, all those are goons and tribal groupings. I am telling you, as a country, we must sit down and agree that we cannot allow this to happen. Remember, there was a time that this country had Mungiki, and they unleashed a lot of terror on young people and families. And it took the decisive action of one man by the name John Michuki. And there was a terrible attack in his home. He was just lucky to have been not been at home at that time. Perhaps he would have died there. So it takes a lot to get rid of them once they take root. And what happens during campaign time, they start by looking for money from those people who are seeking votes. Then we get to a point where there are no elections. They now go into the streets and they start robbing people. They now go into home. They start robbing people. Dr. Fred Matiang'i told us in the last general election that we may just launder money launderers and wash people into government, which is exactly what happened. So he was right. Now what we are doing with our political system that is uncleansed, that is unchecked, we are going to launder goons into power. And once goons acquire power, the nation will simply collapse. And picking it up from there will be a tall order. Haiti did not collapse in one day. Somalia did not collapse in one day. The genocide that happened in Rwanda and Burundi was not conceptualized in a single day. It is systematic. It is systematic actions of omission and commission by people in power. And that is how nations collapse. We must be very careful. Very careful. And the president must be very afraid. Because even Murkomen, this guy who is coming and talking and chest thumping and speaking with a lot of bravado, he will have no office to report to when goons take over. Even the presidency, there will be no election when goons take over. It took the Kenyan government to host the Somali government in Nairobi to try and stabilize that area. And even today, they are still not where they're supposed to be. So the issue of goons and these political leaders, the kind of political leaders who are managing these goons in Ol Kalou, who are managing goons in this Nairobi. I am told in this Nairobi, about 300 goons report every day, carrying each other on motorbikes, 2 every morning. What is their work? It is to protect the seat of power. We must ensure that we investigate, and the church, I am calling upon our religious leaders, the faith-based organization, non-governmental organization, every single institution in this country must stand up against these goons, because we shall have no country.
Thank you.
Dr. Makanga, how do you see things turning out in 2027 next year if this whole issue of goonism continues, if we don't realize how dire and serious the situation really is, and what needs to happen, who needs to do it?
One thing I want to be proud about Kenyans is that we are not like Ugandans, we are not like Tanzanians. We cannot sit down when things are going wrong. That's one thing I love about this country.
Most democratic, yeah.
Yes, we are the most democratic country, and I can tell you, we cannot see the country going to docks and we just leave it and sit like what's happening in Uganda. You can see things are going wrong and you keep quiet. The issue of goons is a monster. I'm happy that the Inspector General of Police addressed the nation some few days ago, and they said they will take decisive action against these guys. We want to see it happening, because these things are not even manufactured. You can see these guys, you can see them very clearly. Look at that photo, the video for Kisii. You could see very well policemen are there, and these guys are throwing stones. You could see very, now you see All Saints are a church headquarters that has very many people. What normally happens is that every OCS is normally asked his areas of what? We normally call the areas of vital installations. So if you are the OCS Central Police Station, you are the area of the OCS Kilimani, you are supposed to map out which areas must have your police officers all the time. So All Saints is not a place that must miss police officers. Police officers within that area should be able to understand that there's a problem.
In the middle of CBD.
Middle of the CBD. So you can see what is happening. Guys just coming from nowhere, getting in, passing the gate, going up to getting into the lift, then getting to where these guys were. That tells you very clearly that these were people who are properly mobilized, properly paid, and they're able to get in. So the issue of goonism, number one, the police have no way about it. There's nobody else who can deal with goonism. It's just a question of police should be able to come up with a strategy on how they will deal with these guys, and then from there they are able to give the OCS in every particular area mandate to tell them very clearly, Mheshimiwa, if you are coming to a funeral, come alone. The issue of goons does not arise. And then the OCS is there to attend the funeral, to make sure he's able to take charge. What's happening if you go to Western, if the governor is coming, he comes with almost like around how many goons? We are talking of around 50 goons. Now, anybody coming to that funeral who is against the governor, who they know, they put goons on the road to make sure that he stops you from coming. You are blocked from coming until when the governor is done is when you can be able to get in. These are things I think police should not be able to manage. They can be able to manage it because we have well-trained police officers and they've got resources, they've got vehicles. The issue here is police must put down this thing and just kill it the way Mungiki was killed by the Honorable late Mijuki, and then from there we are able to move on. Otherwise, if this thing is not sorted out this year, I'm telling you, next year is going to be worse. And you can see, I said in the beginning that leadership, the way people are trying to look at money, I'm the governor, and you are looking, you want to strike me this thing from my hands, from my mouth, no way, I'll use my goons to make sure that I get. And then I'll also say, I also want this thing. So the question of people fighting, goons fighting, this side, will just grow up. And then at the end of the day, we can't manage this thing, we can't manage it. And we will suffer, the mamas, the shows on the ground, and then the other issue, the issue of unemployment. I've always told people very clearly that people have taken this issue of blaming the government, there are no jobs, there are no jobs, there are no jobs. The question of people being taken to university and doing degrees that cannot be able to work, I think this is where the ministry should be able to look at this thing in a broader perspective. I've been able to meet a good number of youth who have done degree in criminology, who have done degree in security management, and they have no jobs because they joined thinking that they will get jobs with police, they will get jobs with army, they will get jobs with KWS. Yes. But now the problem is those jobs are not there. I've always told parents, and I meet with many of them, please guide your children on which courses they are supposed to pick that will be able to get them jobs very easily. Now, it's very heartening when you meet a graduate in the city of Nairobi with a degree in anthropology.
Hawking.
Yeah. And anthropology, we are talking about setting about bonds. So, I mean, who will employ you? You can only work in what? You can only work in the National Museum. I've met guys who studied very funny degrees, and they are struggling in town here. In fact, they are doing hawking right now. I think parents, this issue of actually blaming the government is our responsibility. Let's just make sure that as your children take courses, please take your child to the right course. I can tell you, we've taken a good number of guys to cruise ships. Very many. And I can tell you, last week I was training general managers in Mombasa. I had like 100 of them. We had a guy from Dubai, the owner of 5-star hotels, and he was saying Kenyan talent is like a hot cake. Kenyan talent is a hot cake. You guys, you have the best in hospitality. You want the best GM, come to Kenya. You want the best staff, come to Kenya. Why can't we take advantage of this and make sure that we're able to enter into this industry with full blast, and at the end of the day, we give these guys jobs international. Thank you.
Okay, Sheikh, Dr. Makanga has just said that police are the only ones who can deal with the issue of Gunism. But you see, these are the same policemen who are compromised. These are the same policemen who are taking orders from above. These are policemen who are working hand in hand with these goons. So how do you expect them to solve this problem?
My colleague here pointed out something I have been trying to say all this time. This country is run by 3 major groups. Sorry to use this word. The politicians, the religious leaders, and the media. The religious leaders, I don't see a religious leader around, because most of the time, by coincidence, when I graduated and became a sheikh, the first person I met was Reverend Timothy Njoya. And I told him, Reverend, you did a great thing for us. And today, sad to say, we don't even remember him. And when he passes away, then we'll start naming streets after him. So I call on Kenyans, let's honor this guy now. When he's still alive, he's right now very sick. But we can still honor him. Just a small award to show the religious leaders that we have a role to play in this country. The problem with us as religious leaders, we just confine ourselves to spirituality. I go on the streets. I'm the only religious leader on the ground. I've put my boots on the ground. People think this guy, hata kuna wengine wamenitukana. Lakini I don't mind, because I know, according to my Islamic teachings, speaking out against injustice is jihad, not taking weapons and killing people. Speaking out against an injustice is the biggest jihad. That is what I'm doing. So as a religious leader, I'm supposed to be on the ground. I cannot say the police officers, remember, they're just as human as we are. If religious leaders can be compromised, what do you think of police officers? And then, if you look closely, according to the teachings of our religion, Moses came with the 10 commandments. Jesus divided them into 2. Man and God, the relationship of man with his creator, and the relation of man with his fellow man. Then the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, before passing away, the last 2 words he said was, As-salatu wa ma malakat yaminuk. Establish prayer and make sure you take care of your dependents. The problem with us today, when you go to church or you go to mosques, we put everything to prayers. God has told you clearly that there are some problems you address to God, and there are some problems that are man-made you address with man-made solutions. God is not a registered voter. You are the guys who vote in these so-called rogue leaders, and then you start complaining. God says when it comes to drought or famine or things like that, okay, like when Joshua was fighting the war, he did not say, God, give me arms. What did he say? God, let the sun not set until I have won. So the sun was in the hand of God, but the weapons was in his hands. So he did not seek prayers and say, God, give me some more power in my army. So what is man-made should have man-made solutions. The problem with us is when we come to religious leaders, we think that prayers will solve everything. No, that's a lie. But religious leaders have to take a stand. As much as we've got rogue leaders, but as religious leaders, we have to give them a chance to repent. Okay? Like in our Islamic teachings, there was a man who had killed 99 people. And he went to a rabbi and he said, can I be forgiven? And he said, no. So he killed him also. He said, let's make it 100. But after some time, he felt remorseful again. He said, he went now to a wise man, not to a religious leader. He went to a wise man and asked. He said, yes, you can be forgiven. He said, how? He said, where you are residing, that environment is also contributing to your sins. So I'm calling on especially the ruling elite today. Please change your friends. Most of these friends, look at Mobutu Sese Seko. He was the most powerful, but where is he today? Even his bones cannot be brought back to Zaire. So I would not like the current regime to go that way. And I'm calling on religious leaders. Repentance is not just about coming and praying for that person. Ask this person to reform his ways. Give him an ultimatum that in 40 days, if you have not reformed, then we as religious leaders will come on the ground and give the way forward, because we have to save this country.
All right, speaking of giving the way forward, Ngoima, why do you think the church is quiet, or the religious leaders are quiet?
I don't want to accuse them or speak ill of them, because like I say, I'm one of their children. But they are you see, God's political agenda, socio and economic agenda in the world was announced by Isaiah in Isaiah 58. They are failing on it completely. The reason as to why I think they are quiet is that largely they are compromised. A number of them are compromised. Quite a huge number share in the responsibility of having brought the government in to power. And also, a number of them have taken bribes and eaten from the poisoned pot. And that is why some of them are not able to speak. I think also we have a situation whereby the leadership in the church is compromised and controls their juniors. You can't say this. You can't say this. You find, for example, if it's a church, they can't say anything the bishop has not told them. And therefore the relics go quiet. But all in all, the church has been corrupted by the world. They have narrowed their scope, their persistent love, and their prophetic calling. They must go back to liberate their own mission and prophetic calling. Because if this country is destroyed, there will be no one to go to those churches. If this country is destroyed, no one will go to those mosques.
They'll have no God to worship.
They have no. In fact, remember, we always say that any country where the church separated itself from the people, it has never recovered. It is a case in France. It is a case in Canada. 100 years ago, they left people who are suffering. To date, they are struggling to establish a church. So it is time that our religious leaders come in and call the government to order. I miss those days when the Bishop Gitare, Manasseh Kuria, and Akina John Gato would shout to the strongest and tell Moi, it is written on the wall.
Thank you so much, Ngoima. Let me give you 30 seconds to say your final remarks as you wind up.
My final remarks is that we wish the people of Karau well and hope they will exercise their God-given right with their minds and not their wallets and their stomachs. I believe that this is going to be a very good test for UDA, and I hope to see very good fallout within the ruling party after they lose this election. I believe if they lose this election, William Ruto will be rethinking his deputy president because he has not delivered. And then this could also be a test, a very serious test on DCP, because if DCP loses this one, then in Mount Kenya, they will not be given space. And it's a wait and see.
Thank you so much, Ngoima. Sheikh, your final remarks, 30 seconds.
My final remarks, first and foremost, I call out on our fellow youth. Please, we should start owning this country. Secondly, when it comes to Ol Kalou, we should not let these politicians hijack our process. We did not bring this country to serve a few individuals, because what I'm seeing in Ol Kalou is just a muscling of politicians against each other. It's not a representative they are choosing. They're just trying to prove to each other who is the stronger person there. So I'm calling out on the Gen Zs, because I see we have got a vote bank. We have got the undecided vote bank of 8 million. I've been told there's another 7 million female. And we are going to get to that to see what is it that we can do. Then last but not least, as a religious leader, you'll be amazed to know what the Muslim vote bank here in Kenya is. 7,167,234 Muslim registered voters. But because of some tribal leaders, they don't vote as a faction. And remember, if the religious people take their mantle, on the other side I also do interfaith, and the Christians take their mantle, and we come together and say the 10 commandments are unique to all of us, whether Muslim or Christian, we can save this country.
Thank you so much, Sheikh. Dr. Makanga, your final remarks?
Yes, mine is to wish the people of Ol Kalou good luck kindly pick the right candidate so that you are able to have services between now and 2027. If you make a wrong decision, then at the end of the day, don't blame anybody, because we are talking about now your mandate. And even if you are given money, take the money, but make the right decision. On the youth, they keep on complaining that they've been left behind. It's true they've been left behind, because you can see people being appointed in parastatus, in most of them are old junks. These guys who are just being revolved, and in fact they can't think. And then we would ask the government that let them give them opportunity. I'm happy we have a PS who is a young man. I think let's have such a type of appointment so that we also give these youth enough time to be able to join the government, and we are able to move on. Let's make Kenya a better place. As we approach 2027, I think the Inspector General of Police and your team, can you just make sure that you put your foot down as the Inspector General of Police? Just make sure that the issue of guns is actually finished in the best interest of Kenyans, in the best interest of this country, because these are very big snake that we shall not be able to deal with.
Thank you so much, Dr. Enoch Makanga, who is a security expert, and also Sheikh Mohammed Khan, who is the National Coordinator Imams, and of course Jackson Ngoima, who is a political analyst. Gentlemen, thank you so much for making time for us. Asanteni sana, thank you so much. That's all the time we have right now, but of course there is an update I am getting. There was a bit of fracas in AC Primary, I'm being told, between the residents and the police, but the police were chased away or denied entry in Ol Kalou Comprehensive School. A bit of fracas there in AC Primary between the residents and the police officers there. The police wanted to get into Ol Kalou Comprehensive School, but they were denied entry. Remember, we have our reporters there, Bataru Mwangi, and of course Francis Wawera, who will be updating us on everything that is going on as voting is underway in Ol Kalou constituency, as residents there make their decision on who will be their next member of parliament. Asanteni sana. My colleague David Kagina will be taking over. It's been a pleasure. My name is Mombi Chege.
Kameme TV.
In an age of fleeting headlines, depth matters. PeopleDaily.digital carries forward a legacy of genuine journalism. We bring you not just the news, but the context, the analysis, and the stories that shape our nation, for reporting that digs deeper and informs better.
Hey, Modus. Woza. Mr. Mavela, Mr. Mandunya, Mr. Mavujeng. Hii ni mbaya mtu wangu.
Ni mbaya. Golden Pineapps aka Mama Sita Miss Kanyoni.
Monday ginya Friday.
Kuma zai komisia hwaine ginya zinashara.
Ni mweje.
It is Rere Mboka O'Clock.
Dokire kana irongerwa ndenda hiki no nginya nderute Mboka.
Na rwe Mboka negererio tiongenenie DJ Jan 254 Mr. Moto kama pass.
Na muthenya wa mwambĩrĩrio tugakurehera aka African Music Afro Monday.
Why you do me like Joanna? Jo.
Kameme TV, muthegi wa rũrĩrĩ.
Kama invite yangu haikufika on time, but I'm glad to be here anyway.
She was my rival, my competitor. We need to shut this business down.
Hii biashara ndo kila kitu kwenye hii familia. Nikufe ama nisikufe.
Kama mbaya. We ni mnoma sana.
One truth can break everything.
Sit tight.
True understanding requires more than a headline. The People Daily app delivers our trusted in-depth journalism directly to you. Get comprehensive reporting, insightful political analyses and special features optimized for your life on the go. Get the stories that deserve your attention wherever you are. The People Daily app. News that moves with you. Why wait for fun? K24.digital brings you 24/7 entertainment. From the pitch to the playlist, from celebrity gossip to the memes you love. We're not just news, we're your non-stop ticket to everything cool and trending. So get in the know. K24.digital. Follow the buzz 247.
God is a God of a second chance. Ngai ne ngai wa ihinda ringi. Ona muini wa rwimbo ne raugire ngai ne ngai tutungatagira ngai wa ihinda ringi. Tutungatagira ngai wa ihinda ringi. Na ngai ucio ri ni aheaga mundu a second chance. Na tondu wi muoyo ri ngai no akuhe o hingo ingi. Ngai no akurugamirire o hingo ingi tondu ni ngai wa ihinda ringi. Ngai arokuhe thiini wa ritwa ria Jesu ihinda ria gukenereruka ringi. Ngai arokuhe ringi thiini wa ritwa ria Jesu Kristo. Wewe wina kirathimo gia gutherema ta muthabibu, wina kirathimo gia guciara muno ta muthabibu, na kurotwika guo thiini wa ritwa ria Jesu Kristo.
Rathimo ni kihunjio kuma kanitha-ini wa CFF Kiambu o kiumia thaa 3 cia rucini thiini wa Kameme TV.
Wanenola neema tutamwona Mwokozi Yesu.
Hihi wina kioria kana woni wegie umemerekia wa Kameme TV? Twandikire woni waku kuhitukira Facebook @Kameme TV Kenya, X @Kameme TV Kenya, na twandikire email kuhitukira info@mediamax.co.ke. Kameme TV, muthegi wa ruriri.